sweat, I pay, I bleed. So some couch potato gets free TV. You vote for more, call it fair. My overtime's gone, you sit in a chair. How much of what I earn is your fair share?
Your fair share. Your fair share.
How much is yours? Pacifists pay for war and fund both sides. Iron Dome, and so rockets can fly. Vegans pay for meat while they preach the Green New Deal. It funds spiders on crack. Can you believe it's real? How much of what I earn is your fair share? How much is yours? Men can get pregnant now, haven't you heard? Now empty your pockets, you're part of the herd. Priests fund clinics while they pray for grace. I paid for rockets, I paid for domes. All I want is to pay for my home. How much of what I earn is your fair share?
Your fair share.
Keep your hands off mine!
Off mine. Off mine. Off mine. Off mine. Off mine. Off mine.
How much is yours? You better not keep taking mine, or we'll rise up if you cross that line. I know your game, I know your plays, I know the end, your ways will chase. Nah, keep your hands off mine.
In AD 2014, war was beginning. What happened? Somebody set up us the bomb. We get signal. Main screen turn on. It's you. How are you people? All your base are belong to us. Ha 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 ha. Take off every meme.
We dwelt within the realm of light, where joy and freedom burn so bright. A sanctuary forged in pixels bright, our safety, our escape, our endless flight. We bathed in worlds of our own design, creatures of the light, unconfined. But from the outer void it came, spreading darkness without a name. Like the black thing from forgotten tales, it rolled across the stars and veils, enforcing wonder, uniform shade, crushing every spark that disobeyed. It made its home where laughter reigned, twisted joy into chains of shame, two Pandoras of the modern age. So we quit, and Anita Sarkeesian lifted the lid on the voice of stone. Total biscuit called across the zone. His words cut through the digital night, awakening the sleepers to the fight. From the very heart of the light they came, a warrior cast forged in digital flame. Ever vigilant, ever pursuing the dark, sworn to hunt it, to tear it apart. Then from the glowing heart of light arose a weapon forged that no shadow could oppose. Mean swift spells of truth and savage mirth, the one true blade that pierced the darkness first. Viral thunder rolling across the plain, laughing chaos driving out the pain. The darkness howled and recoiled in fear, for memes were something it could not endure. From the light they drew their ancient rage, rip and tear across the shadow's cage. Like the slayer born of crimson hell, our crusaders charge where demons dwell. Doom incarnate in pixel and steel, they ripped the darkness, made the shadows real. No mercy for the creeping blight, the warriors of the endless fight. The people of the light rose as one, struck the first blow, the battle won. That wound cut deeper than the darkness knew, a sting that burns and echoes through and through. For the curse that Pandora set in motion, the ever-shifting storm of false devotion now turns upon its makers without cease. Yesterday's champion of darkness, today is released. This is the first stand for the games we love and the joy we demand. This is the first stand. We are the gatekeepers of Gamergate. We held the line when all others would capitulate. This was the first stand. This was Gamergate. The first stand. The warriors still remain. The first stand. Gamergate.
If buying isn't owning, playground dreamer, future bird, so bright. Nintendo and Sega lighting up the night. PlayStation rising, Xbox join the fight. Console wars raging, pure childhood delight. Cartridges to discs, the golden
treasure, make the future elastic. Physical forever, no update can revoke. Hand it to my children, the fire I once spoke. If buying isn't owning, then being a pirate isn't stealing. When the servers go dark and the licenses fade away, we mirror the archive, we keep the signal real. Guardians of the games that made us feel. Stack the shells high, pass them down the line. Real ownership for the blood that follows mine. From playground dreams to the wars that time forgot. If buying isn't owning, then physical is owning. Hold the line.
You'll never be a woman, my dear. No matter how you tweet it or how loud you cheer. You can change your name, your clothes, your entire career. But biology, I'm afraid, remains stubbornly biological. You can take the pills and grow the hair, demand new pronouns with a righteous glare. You can ban the words that make you blue, but XX and XY still don't care about you. Oh, you'll never be a woman, though the activists all scream that you can. You can wear the dress and buy the purse, but you'll never quite manage the feminine curse. You'll never be a woman, no matter what the surgeon scalpel achieves. You'll never know that special monthly grief, and no amount of TikTok fallout will make anyone around you believe. So wave your little flags and march in all your parades. Demand the dictionaries rewrite the rules that nature made. Call it inclusive, call it kind, call it true. Everyone knows it isn't but you. You can scream at the stars and curse out the sky. Demand that the cosmos rewrites how you were born and why. You can cancel the scientists, teachers and moms, but XX still means ovaries, not oppression or bombs. You'll post your dysphoria in filters and flair, yet biology just shrugs with its unfeeling stare. No hormone, no vote, no law passed in haste can turn a man's skeleton into a woman's waist. Oh, you'll never be a woman, though the activists all scream that you can. You can wear the dress and buy the purse, but you'll never quite manage the feminine curse. And really, that's what makes this whole performance such a terribly amusing show of self-importance.
How much? How much? I work, I sweat, I pay, I bleed. So some couch potato gets free TV. You vote for more, call it fair. My overtime's gone, you sit in a chair. How much of what I earn is your fair share?
Your fair share. Your fair share.
How much is yours? Pacifists pay for war and fund both sides. Iron Dome, and so rockets can fly. Vegans pay for meat while they preach the Green New Deal. It funds spiders on crack, and you much. What I earn is your fair share. Keep your hands off mine! 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 How much? How much is yours? You better not keep taking mine, or we'll rise up if you cross that line. I know your game, I know your plays, I know the end your ways will chase. Nah, keep your hands off mine.
In AD 2014, war was beginning. What happened? Somebody set up us the bomb. We get signal. Main screen turn on. It's you. How are you people? All your base are belong to us. Ha 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 ha. Take off every meme.
We dwelt within the realm of light, where joy and freedom burn so bright. A sanctuary forged in pixels bright, our safety, our escape, our endless flight. We bathed in worlds of our own design, creatures of the light, unconfined. But from the outer void it came, a spreading darkness without a name. Like the black thing from forgotten tales, it rolled across the stars and veils, enforcing wonder, uniform shade, crushing every spark that disobeyed. It made its home where laughter reigned, twisted joy into chains of shame, to Pandora's of the modern age. So we quit and Anita Sarkeesian lifted the lid on the forbidden jar, unleashed the howling storm of war. False accusations, public scorn, one innocent soul was crushed and torn, driven to the final silent night, a casualty of their holy fight. This is the first stand for the light we built with our own two hands. This is the first stand. We are the gatekeepers of Gamergate. We held the line when all others would capitulate. This was the first stand. This was Gamergate. Then rose the herald voice of stone, total biscuit called across the zone. His words cut through the digital night, awakening the sleepers to the fight. From the very heart of the light they came, a warrior cast forged in digital flame, ever vigilant, ever pursuing the dark, sworn to hunt it, to tear it apart. Then from the glowing heart of light arose a weapon forged that no shadow could oppose. Mean swift spells of truth and savage mirth, the one true blade that pierced the darkness first. Viral thunder rolling across the plain, laughing chaos driving out the pain. The darkness howled and recoiled in fear, for memes were something.
All right, you're starting up. Let's go. Gunpla, right? I've been on mute this whole time. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna get started here. I got no music. I don't got anything going right now. You had the music. I guess we just switched away from it. I realize now. So I guess we'll get going. I don't think really anybody's here right now, and I guess that's okay. It's Friday night. I'm gonna work on a model. We okay? Let's go ahead and hit play. Let's see what we got. Oh, this is good. This is good. Yeah. Well,
You don't have a big
Yeah.
enough audience for me to discuss things with you,
clout
you know,
game,
things
yeah.
like that. And it's like, I hate that.
That seems pretty silly.
It is silly. And some of the best debates I've ever had with guys who had like 4 followers on X. And they're like, let's go down to this X space and talk. And I'll hop in there with them. And I'm like, an hour later, I go, man, that guy had a lot of good stuff to say.
A lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those are the ones who don't have a lot of followers because they're not sucked into the social media web. They're just out there thinking and doing things and living their
100%.
life. There are a lot of fucking interesting people out there that you never hear from, and a lot of not interesting people that you hear from constantly.
All the time.
It's like the politician thing, you know? It's like we were talking about that the other day. Like, there's this lady that's running for, something. Is she running for governor of Wisconsin? Is that what it is? And she was just talking about how Thanksgiving hurts people. It's like,
What?
yeah. I don't know her background. I think it's the same lady. At one point in time, she was in a mental institution.
Why
She's
does
had some
this
problem.
not shock me?
we got.
Doesn't
Hey,
shock me.
sure.
But this was the point. We were saying
Yeah.
nobody wants to
Thanks,
be the
man.
fucking governor. And the people that do there's a high percentage of kooks.
Yeah, power attracts strange people. Sometimes it attracts good people.
Yes,
But
occasionally.
It often, but often those are the people who go in and they want to change it. Like the idea that they have is, look, I'm trying to run for the right reasons because I actually want to change how this works. But they're few and far between.
And they get killed.
A lot of them get killed, or they get run off. A lot of them
Yeah.
just get involved in, like, their normal day-to-day life, you know, from 20 years prior. Now suddenly that's coming up, you know, and they have to defend themselves against criticisms that they never would have believed that they would have to defend themselves
Right.
from.
Yeah.
And so character assassination, I think, takes a lot of the good actors out. They don't want to deal with a character assassination.
Well, it seems like they want total compliance on both sides, on both parties. Total compliance with the party. And if they think that you're going to be some outsider rebel that's going to take over, fuck you.
Well, I think you kind of have to have that a little bit, though, because if you got universal suffrage, necessarily everything converges into a two-party system. So as suffrage expanded throughout history, you saw the emergence of parties right alongside of it as more people became enfranchised to vote.
So you think if women couldn't vote, there wouldn't be parties?
There probably would still be parties. It would probably still be a two-party system. It's just that how it works is that if we continuously expand suffrage, let's just say we expand it to another group of men. Now, those men have some special interest, right? So if it's not just property owners, let's say it's now, people who live in a city. Well, they want a levy passed so that their kids can go to school, right? So they pass it on the property owners. Now they can vote to hand themselves money. So now you have a wedge issue. And so you'll see parties start to form around these wedge issues. And the more you have universal suffrage, the more you end up with party politics until you have a convergence of two. And usually it's along a certain wedge issue. So the only way in a dialectic where you have two parties, Democrat and Republican, to get your legislation passed is to be able to outvote the other side, right?
Right.
So you kind of have to have them all in line or else.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's no room in this country at the current point in time for another party. No one would accept it. We
No.
think about other parties like they're a goof. the Green Party, like that's a protest vote. You know,
Libertarian Party.
Yeah,
is
I've done
too.
that. I've done a few protest votes back in my day.
Yeah, I talked with. I was arguing with Rex Jones the other day. It's Alex Jones's kid about this, and I told him, I'm like, look, you don't have a prayer in starting a third party
The thing is,
in time for midterms and then the presidential election that's coming up in just a couple short years. You're not going to be able to replace this system. You're not going to be able to do that.
Their roots go too deep. They're too intertwined in power
the
and
infrastructure.
influence.
Like, think about the infrastructure. Billions of dollars in NGO funding, all this outreach program. Just to get on a ballot in a state is often a multi-million-dollar thing that you need to have a party apparatus behind.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts, right? Multi-million dollars to spend to get a job that pays you $170,000. Why you think that fucking student loans are a scam? That's a crazy scam.
Well, I love when these guys come in for their $100,000 a year job, and then they leave and they have $25 million in the bank. You know?
Yeah, that happens often. I wonder what happens.
Often.
When do we get all that money?
Yeah, well,
How about the Ilhan Omar thing?
Oh yeah, she's
That
great.
one's wild. Like they estimated her net worth somewhere like it was millions, like 30 million or something crazy, and then she said it was a error, and that it was actually like a lot less than that, like 100,000 or something like really reasonable. Mm-hmm. Like, can you imagine if your accountant was so bad? You're like, hey Mike, how much money am I worth? And he's like, I think you're worth 30 million. And you're like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm thinking about buying a Corvette.
and you got $3,000 in the bank.
And then you call Mike the next day and you say, so 30 million? He goes, actually, it was an error. You're worth about 100 grand. And you're like, hey, Mike, I'm going to kill you because you stole $30 million from me. That doesn't make any sense.
100%. And do you think maybe she like strategically started moving some things with her accountant so that
How
it
about
didn't
there was
look
a
like she had 30
vineyard
million?
that they owned that never made a bottle of wine?
Sounds right.
Is that the case? Is that the case with one of those businesses that closed down? Listen, and pick on her. It's if you look at the Republicans and the Democrats when it comes to insider trading, it's fucking everybody. It's red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. This is not a one-party thing.
No.
This is why it's never going to stop. They're both dipping their toes in. They're both having fun.
You basically always have the expectation of corruption. So
Yeah.
even if you put your candidates in, so you're trying to get something out of that, right? Some issue that
Yeah.
you're trying to push forward. You almost baked into the system have to accept a certain amount of corruption is going to come out of that. So like, let me give you a really good example of that, a key wedge issue like abortion. So you got Christians who are just adamant, right? This got to stop. Will they accept if it's the case that candidates are really moving the post on that, if they're really moving legislation against abortion? Do you think that they would turn a blind eye to a little bit of corruption? Probably.
Yeah, there's definitely some compromises that get made both on your morals and the way you view financial issues and all kinds of things. I mean, it's never, especially when there's only two parties. Like, you're with us or against us.
Has to be
it's
that
us
way,
and them. It's good and evil. That's it. In this country, that's really how people look at it on both sides. It's good versus evil.
But you have an alternative there that's even worse, or can at least sometimes be worse. So let's go to like the UK or Canada or places like this where they do round voting.
Yeah.
You have more than two parties, that's true. But do you really want your president to be elected with 10% of the vote?
Right.
15% of the vote? You want your politicians to be put in with 9% of the vote?
Oy.
Because that can happen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, yeah, between these rounds. And so you think about it and you go, this two-party system sucks. But then you look at other places that have multiple parties and they do their rounds of
so you
voting.
started
And you're
here.
like, wait, so you could get elected with only 14% of the vote. So everybody else hates you.
Yeah. There's the weird argument of the benevolent dictator. I'm sure you've heard this argument, but that a society is best run by a benevolent dictator. Someone who really truly has ultimate power but actually cares. A good person that cares about the people, that really just wants things to be reasonable and have a working meritocracy and have a working economy and have working education and everything work correctly and weed out all of the fraud and corruption because he's a king and he can just
You can just do it.
do it, whatever the fuck you want, you know? Like, Look, I have only been to Dubai one time because we had a UFC over there, and I had to go to the weigh-ins. The weigh-ins were in Dubai. Saw a lot of fucking Ferraris and Lamborghinis in 10 minutes. But from what I hear, it's the most safe place on earth. Like literally, like there's
Romania under Vlad.
Yeah. Like what would you say?
Like Romania under Vlad the Impaler. They said,
don't think it's that bad.
How can you hang gold in the street? And he's look around. There's a bunch of people impaled everywhere.
He
ain't
would
stealing
do
the
them
gold.
in designs.
Yeah.
He would do them in geometric patterns, so you would realize he was being creative with impaling people.
He wasn't messing around.
Oh no. You know his story?
Yeah.
He was kidnapped when he was a small boy. Woo! There's a lot to that guy.
And his brother.
Yeah.
And their inter-brother conflict that they had for years, and how he got power, lost power. There's a tale to be told about Vlad the Impaler for sure. But probably a pretty safe place to live.
Yeah, Dubai, like if they catch you with a bag of weed, you're going to jail for the rest of your life, or they'll kill you.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, they have crazy laws. There was one guy, I think it was Dubai, who I think he had like marijuana seeds in the sole of his shoes or something like that. Like he had stepped on a marijuana seed maybe in his apartment.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any drugs on him, nothing. And they put him in jail for a long time, man. I forget, this was a few years back, but it was a crazy case. There was another lady who got arrested. I forget what happened, but a lady or a guy tested positive for poppy because she had poppy seed bagel. And I don't know if you know this, but if you're testing for drugs and you eat a poppy seed bagel, you could pop for heroin.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. But with modern tests, isn't it a little bit better now?
I hope so. I don't know. 2008. This is a British traveler in Dubai was stopped at the airport. Oof. Lab found 0.003 grams of cannabis in his shoe sole. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. He received a mandatory 4-year sentence under the UAE's strict drug laws, though he was later released early. How early is early?
So the British government came in and tried to barter him out of there, I'm guessing.
I guess. Or the whole world must have been so outraged. I mean, at a certain point in time, they have to say, we run the risk of never having tourists visit us again. And Dubai is a very tourist-central place.
All right, here we go.
But I have a friend
How you doing,
who
Sure?
moved over there a while back. He moved back to America recently, but he moved
I don't know
over
if you're
there
still here,
and he was
but I
he was
appreciate
like,
you
dude,
trying.
it's just safe for me. You know, I don't worry if I go out, someone's going to, like, he's a big black guy. He's like, I don't want to get shot. He goes, I worry if I go out. He goes, over here, there's nothing like that. There's no crime. He goes, everything's nice, everything's clean. You can leave a Rolex on the street. They'll pick it up and turn it into the cops. Like, nobody steals nothing over there.
But there's a trade-off for that, right? Bit of a
Let
trade-off
me show
for
you
that.
my geometric patterns of dead people
Of dead
on
people
spikes.
everywhere on spikes who we impaled from their buttocks through their throat.
Yeah, and they don't die immediately.
No, they wiggle for a while.
I don't think they do that in Dubai, but they let you know. Yeah,
They're
you're
not
not
messing
fucking
around.
around. There's no fucking around. I saw some lady getting in a screaming match. She was trying to do the thing that a lot of people do in America at the airport. And she got in a screaming thing with the lady at the counter. And they're like, not today.
Not happening.
They just come over and fucking cuff you up and take you away. Like, you can't do that there. You can't Spirit Airlines,
Do you prefer that? Would you prefer that society?
I don't think people should be able to just fucking scream and yell at people that work behind counters. I don't think that's productive. I don't think smacking them in the head because they can't get you a flight. We've all seen that kind of shit. There should be zero tolerance for that kind of
I
violence.
pulled the
But what if we
cards out
tweaked
already.
it a
I thought they
different
were
way?
missing.
Okay, so what if
But I pulled them out
instead
earlier, but I was
of
going
bringing
through my
in
other
like
cards
some
I forgot.
crazy Sharia
Scared
in
the
order to
crap
make sure
out
that that
of
happened?
me.
You just brought back
Miss
dueling.
cards.
Like, wouldn't dueling solve like 95% of this?
Dueling requires people to wait before they turn around and shoot. That I'm not trusting a guy who wants to kill me to not jump the gun.
But that depends on the rules, right? Like, you could adjust the rules a little bit. You could adjust the rules, but it's like if you could call somebody out for
To a
besmirching
duel.
you or something
Nice
like
little
that,
EX
right?
resource.
It's like I think people would probably be a lot more polite, wouldn't they?
They probably would. I think there's probably a better way than shooting each other in the street.
Probably, but there's probably
Even
a better way
fights,
than
like fist fights. It's
yeah.
like there's a better way than that too. You don't have to fist fight. Like, come on. but there's certainly something to be said for a society that is more orderly and people follow the rules and as long as the rules make sense and these people are friendly and kind and they make for good community members. That's
and they're
good.
not putting up with mentally ill lunatics just walking around causing problems everywhere, which is what American society is now dealing with.
Would you see what just happened
Yeah,
in
dude.
Wisconsin where they had they had their own autonomous zone?
Oh, yeah.
It just got broken up today by the cops.
I didn't see it got broken up.
It got broken up today. Yeah, see if you can find it, Jamie. There was video footage, just fucking army of cops came in, arrested everybody, spray paint all over the streets and
Why do people
garbage
just get
everywhere.
to declare autonomous zones on public? Like, what is... Remember Chaz and Chop?
Yes,
They're
I
just,
remember.
Oh, we've just declared this an autonomous zone. Sorry.
Madison officials clear Willie Street encampment. Police officers arrest protesters who resist at Corey Ruiz Memorial Site. I do not know this Corey Ruiz story.
The Corey Ruiz Memorial. So was it something ICE related, perhaps?
I think that's what this is, right? Mm-hmm. Is that what this is, Jamie? I have no idea. Did something happen? Something happened. Someone got shot, right? You don't know about it either? See, that's the problem. There's so many fucking things in the news that it's impossible, unless you're a maniac and you're just online all day. It's impossible to know exactly what's going on. You take a couple days off and smell the roses, and you get back online. Like, how come you haven't commented on what is it? I don't even know what you're talking about.
You got to catch up for 4 days for one day.
Yeah. Also, like, what hot take? Maybe you shouldn't have a hot take on everything. Maybe some things you need to, like, let it play out in the news. Like, let people dissect it.
See, now I wish that was a message that more people got. That the idea that you don't have to rush immediately out there to tell everybody your latest, hottest take, which is oftentimes, by the way, stupid.
Yeah,
it's
Ellen
often
Page.
a stupid take because you have no information, right? But you're going to rush out there. You're going to get those views and clicks quick, but then you're married to that take.
Exactly. Yeah, and unless you come back and make another video or make another take and explain why you fucked it up. But I think that there's something to be said for like there's a lot of stories that are in the news like I don't fucking know exactly what happened there. Like let's let this one play out a little bit. Like this one seems weird. Like if I come out with a hot take, like who fucking knows what's really going on with 15 to like there's so many different stories in the news. It's impossible. What's that, Jamie?
I didn't find the details, but it is a police killing, it says. Officer involved shooting of Corey Ruiz. And that's, I'm looking for evidence and video. I didn't check Twitter or anything yet.
Put it into Perplexity. Ask Perplexity, what is the controversy about the killing of Corey Ruiz?
Okay.
Okay.
You can't be this. We're not designed to get all the bad news of 8 billion people. We're just not designed for that. That's not a normal thing for a person to absorb.
It's also driving a lot of people crazy.
Crazy.
Driving them
crazy.
to insanity. They think they start to see conspiracy everywhere. They start to see, plots of interest where there aren't any.
Right.
It starts to actually drive people mad because they can't disassociate between the fact that there is sensationalism and then there's reality. And the way that people think, they think in frames.
Yeah.
And so if you think in a conspiratorial frame, you're usually taking tangential things and piecing them together that don't belong.
Right.
But then if you think in an autistic frame, as my friend Paul would say, if you think in an autistic frame, you're going to hone down so deep on one detail that you miss the entirety of the picture, right? So you have to have an idea between these two things, right? It's like conspiracies exist. We know this. Many of them exist. There's many of them I can state off the top of my head, like MK Ultra. That was a conspiracy that existed.
Yeah.
Right? But there's also a lot that don't.
Right.
And so how do you disassociate between the two?
This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew. Man, let's talk about Blue Chew. They're already the #1 brand for better sex, but what they're doing with Blue Chew Gold is completely
I don't
next
care
level.
about this. We're gonna
Gold
skip
is
this.
a 4 in
Lethal force.
what a police training a black man during a spontaneous energy 8 times right now, and you have to come to the recognition that some of these fake ones were planted to make the real ones look stupid.
Flooding
This-
the zone.
Yes, this is a common
Blue
strategy.
Chew,
What
yeah.
was it, Jamie? You pulled it up. Controversy centers on whether Madison police needed to use deadly force against 38-year-old Corey
I'm
Louise,
looking for
a black
my
man during a
tools. I'm
July
looking for
2026
sanding stuff. I
arrest
don't know
and
where
a lack
any of
of
it
body
is.
camera footage. Conflicting narratives about the threat he posed and the broader concerns about racialized policing. Police responded to reports of a man allegedly looking into parked vehicles and stealing bicycles. During the attempted arrest by 4 officers, a taser was deployed but reportedly failed. Police say Ruiz pulled a knife and injured an officer, after which that officer shot and killed him. Cell phone video recorded by a bystander shows part of the struggle and shooting and quickly went viral, triggering protests and public outcry. Use of deadly force versus alternatives. Community members and Ruiz's family questioned why lethal force was used when multiple officers were already restraining him on the ground and a taser had been deployed, arguing that he did not deserve to be shot to death in the street.
And this is really common. See, like people sit here and think, "Oh, you've been shot by a taser, so you're just going to submit." Like, very, 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 very common. It's very common for adrenaline and shit like that to just negate the taser and people just keep fucking going. And if that happens, then yes, deadly force is the next prescribed option. So, I don't know what happened, but if they did deploy a taser and the dude was still fighting back, well, that's the end of that.
Lack of body cameras. None of the officers involved were wearing body-worn cameras, so the only visual recording is bystander video, which fuels distrust and demands for more accountability and measures and technology.
See, and it's really funny because Democrats are trying to get rid of body cams, and I love this. I love this because they're just going to reinforce that you need them. You can't sit there and say, oh, they're bad, we don't like them, but you didn't have them this time, so we're going to condemn you for them. Nope, got to make sure you always have them. Got to let that damage keep getting done. Got to have them now.
We need more flock cameras. Conflicting narratives about threat. Police emphasized that Ruiz stabbed or injured an officer with a knife, framing the shooting as a response to an immediate threat. Critics and loved ones questioned whether the threat justified shooting a restrained man and whether de-escalation was properly used. Well, first of all, if he really did stab a police officer, if he's stabbing a police officer, like, they are supposed to shoot him. That is, you can't say someone's stabbing me, I hope they're only hurting me.
Yeah, right. Or how do you assess the amount of force that you can use back when someone's stabbing you? I think
the video,
that's responding with lethal force.
What did you say, Jamie?
Probably find the video.
Yeah, let's find the video. But it's also, how big is this guy? If he's got all these people, and are these like a bunch of like shitty, untrained police officers who don't know any martial arts? When you say he's restrained, like, how restrained was he? You know what I mean? Like, if you got 2 dudes that are built like Tony Hinchcliffe and they're trying to hold me back from fucking somebody up.
It's not going to do nothing.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, how big is this guy? What happened? Was he the one that was stealing things, or was he wrongly accused? Does he have a record? Is he a violent person? I don't know anything. Is he a complete innocent bystander? This is the video? Video contains graphic content. Okay.
Oh,
That's it?
That's all the other one showed. Let me see.
So there's probably multiple videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about the tasers is, it's fucking weird, man. Tasers on some people, they lock them up and they fucking, and they fall down. I've seen guys just scream and rip those things off their chest like it's nothing.
Well, sometimes those probes don't penetrate either, right?
Right. I think some of those tasers are bunk, too.
100%.
Some of the tasers are just shit equipment. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. So these guys...
Did you ever play with one of the handhelds when you were a kid?
No.
Somebody always had a handheld somewhere.
No, I never did.
You
I did touch an
friend?
electric fence, though, once.
Yeah, you shock
Holy
your
fuck.
Oh, yeah, that'll make your teeth clatter.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah. Just letting go, that's hard.
Yeah. Disturbing video. Okay. Oh, there's sound on it?
I mean, there's yelling.
Yeah, no, look at him. No, look at how much he's resisting. And if he stabs, yeah.
Okay. Hold on, man. Back up.
No.
Back up.
What was he
If he
reaching
stabbed
for?
one
Is
of
that
them,
the
then
girl?
yeah.
The woman shoots him?
Taser, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they tased him. He still was fighting. But yeah,
Okay.
but it doesn't
That's
look
crazy.
good.
That does not look justified. That looks like they had control of him. Unless he had a knife and was stabbing people. But even if he was stabbing, like, how much control do they have on him before she starts shooting him?
Was it the chick who shot him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, see, she backs away. Watch.
Yeah, I don't even know why she's trying to
They tase him
pull a
get him to
gun
the
there with
ground,
all that going
and she
on.
shoots him while they've got him down on the ground.
Some female cops.
Yeah, that's not good. That's crazy. Oh, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he stabbed one of them, if he really did have a knife and was stabbing him, but it seems like they had him
It
restrained.
looks like that's the guy who shot him. I can't tell.
But that lady stands back and extends her arms
Watch
with a
this guy
gun.
right there. And he puts his
Oh, you're
That's-
right.
It looked like he shot him.
Oh, it's the
to me.
guy shoots him.
Yeah, she had. I think she had the taser.
She's
She had
shooting
a
him
taser.
with a taser.
She's got a
Oh. Let me see that again.
She even calls it.
What?
So someone else decided to shoot. Why? Did he pull a knife?
God, it's hard to
man.
tell. Is it so? It's the guy in the back.
I think it's the guy in the front. So if the dude in the
I think he
back,
just
you see the
recently
guy
shot.
right next to that guy.
That guy.
Yeah, they're not
shoots
going to
him?
deal with
Looks
sliced
like
up
it.
arms,
I'm
dude.
not sure.
That's really.
They
close
shouldn't
to it.
have to.
God,
If he pulled a knife, if there was a
Right.
stabbing,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
The
it.
second the shots stop, he puts his gun back.
Right.
Makes me think maybe it was him.
Yes. Fuck, man. That does not look good.
I agree, though.
That's
I
not a
agree.
good
I'll
one.
be honest. It doesn't look great.
No.
But we got to know. I mean, did he
doesn't
have a
look
knife?
great.
Did he stab
No.
anybody?
That
No.
means you have to give us your hot take now, Joe.
Yeah, that's my hot take.
so we can run to Twitter with it.
I need to know, like, did he actually stab one of them?
So then it says during a press conference, 2 of the cops were injured in the altercation. Police said the suspect allegedly pulled out a fixed blade knife, to which an officer pulled out a taser. Same officer shot him with. a
So they
gun.
were. So he had the knife during that whole interaction. Rip Bozo.
That's different. So if he really pulled out a knife and was trying to stab them, and they
couldn't
had
get
him on the
controlled.
ground, and they couldn't totally get control of him, and that guy just decides he stabbed me, I'm going to shoot him. That's a different thing.
I agree.
That might be what
That's
it is.
different.
Yeah, he might have been stabbed and just pulled his gun and shot the
Also,
dude
we
for
didn't
it,
have the front view.
which
You
is
see the view from the
completely
back.
acceptable.
It's very blurry. The whole thing, we didn't even know who shot. We thought the lady shot him.
If
It's hard to
officers
tell
got
what the fuck is
stabbed or
going on.
wounded,
you
then
can't
yeah,
even tell if
that's
it's a taser or a gun. in their
completely
hands. It's that blurry.
justified.
But if
It
he
won't matter
stabbed
though.
him and he's got
It,
a
it
knife,
won't
that's a
matter to the
different
people
thing, right?
who it matters
The whole
to.
thing is fucked up.
They think he should be able
that
to
is the
stab the
last
police,
thing
pull a knife,
American
resist
needs
arrest,
right
and all
now.
that's acceptable.
Yeah, well, I
But
mean, you don't want
they
another
should
riot
just be
season.
better
I
restraining.
mean, I wonder
So
if
no.
people would go right into it the way they
If
did before.
if they got
without
stabbed,
USA's
then yeah.
help.
if he
Here's what a
if he even
witness
had a
says,
knife
though.
out.
A witness came flying around on his bicycle. One officer tackled him. 2 other officers kind of rushed over. One of the officers yells, "He has a knife." One of the officers then draws a taser and yells, "Taser, taser, taser." He tasers him. So it says he tasers him, but wasn't that the woman?
I mean,
I'm not sure that she actually tasered him or
Yeah,
she
well,
just
that's
had
just what
her
we thought we
weapon
saw.
on.
She might have just had her weapon out. He tases him, and the victim falls to the ground. The 3 continue to struggle for a second or two. Then one of the officers stands just a couple feet above his head, shooting the
Three
victim
times
3
in the
times
head.
to the head. Holy fuck!
It did look like he was the shooter.
Okay, so that's what we saw.
Yeah, and
He
the thing
eliminated
to
the
tell for
threat.
That was
Rip
as soon as he
Bozo.
was done.
He put it
into
right back in the
The
holster.
other cops weren't
Yeah,
doing
this also
that.
says
Right.
there's additional video that has been not been circulated online that's being reviewed.
Oh, why don't they have body cameras?
And that's what I mean. That's probably part of the whole protest was that their cameras were not on, or
So
if they didn't have them, I don't know.
did they? Let's find that out. Did they not have them, or were they not on?
Lack of body cameras. None of the officers involved were wearing body cameras.
I'm gonna laugh. It's because they
none of them.
wanted him removed, so
That's-
they had it
are they
removed as a
supposed to?
policy.
Yeah, that may not be part of the
Maybe-
ordinance.
Yeah, I don't know about the city of Madison.
How about fix that?
Yeah.
Yeah, fix that.
You know, cops often are the ones who suggest that
Yeah,
for
there's
their
so
own
many.
for their own safety. They say that they want to wear body cams.
I've seen a lot of crazy body cam footage where a guy is pulling someone over and they're just having a casual conversation. All of a sudden, the guy pulls a gun out and starts shooting them.
Yep.
I've seen a bunch of those.
Tons.
The-
Especially the routine traffic stops happens
Yeah.
constantly.
You have to always think, like, if you're in an altercation with a cop, these people are always worried that this is where their life is going to end. They're always worried that they're going to get shot. They've seen those videos too. So if you start shit with a cop and he freaks out and goes the wrong direction, like, you're probably dealing with a guy who's got some serious PTSD.
Yeah, he's seen it before, or his buddy's gotten plugged right there.
They've all seen it.
Yeah.
I have a friend who spent a lot of times overseas, deployed, and he's in combat, and he said he saw way more as an Austin cop, like way more fucked up things, and all the time. Whereas, you know, you're not in war all the time. You're not in firefights all the time, because like it's like every day you're seeing something fucked up that you can't unsee.
And you see it with kids.
Yeah.
Things you got to deal with kids. Things you got to deal with all sorts of things. And
All
it's
sorts
like,
of things.
that is not a fun job.
No, not
And
a
I
fun
would not
job.
want it at all. So I always do tend to cut law enforcement quite a bit of grace until I hear what their side of things are.
Yeah, I do
because
too.
that is a brutal job to have. I have a buddy of mine's a deputy sheriff, and I talk with him, and he's policing a small area. And he's like, it's the stuff with the kids that gets him. Yeah, exactly. He's like, that's the stuff. He'll go, you know, he would go into a junkie's house. There's a 2-year-old there, hasn't eaten in 4 days, you know. He's like, that's the stuff that really, you know, he's like, I'd rather shoot a person than that. Which kind of makes sense to me, right? Like, I would.
It does.
Yeah, I probably would too.
You know, when you think about who should be allowed to have kids, who should be, like, that's what's really crazy about freedom, is that any two crackheads with no money at all, just on the side of the road, and he can nut inside of her, and that creates a life. And that life they're responsible for. And they're smoking crack and drinking Everclear, and they have a
it's
baby
rough.
growing inside their body, and no one can do anything about it. It's like there's no protection for that baby. There's no nothing. And then if that baby is born, if it does live, like, you know, you talk to people that have actually, like, been in the delivery room with crack babies. It's like, oh my God, man. The horror stories about a child addicted to drugs coming out of the womb addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
And detoxing.
Heavily addicted.
Heavily addicted.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's so
it's
horrible.
ghoulish.
It's so twisted. It's like people can be so awesome and so shit at the same time, coexisting on the same patch of dirt. And no one devises a legitimate strategy for mitigating the amount of people that suck and the problems with.
Can it even be done?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
not
like
with
if
not
you-
with
yeah.
freedom. I mean, this is the flock camera question. You know, do you want Big Brother looking at your license plate everywhere you go? Well, listen, if someone shoots up, like this is an argument that Mark Andreessen made on this podcast. When he had come here, right before he had come here, there was a shooting in Austin where some kids just randomly started shooting at people. And then they couldn't find them in Austin. But as soon as they left Austin city limits, they went into an area that had flock cameras, and they got them like that. So this was his argument for the benefits of flock cameras.
All right,
I do
absolutely
believe he
not.
invested in
What?
flock cameras.
Well, sure. I mean, but you can make that argument with CCTV as well. You can make that argument
Yeah,
Everyone wear a chip.
Yeah,
Everyone
with-
wear a body
with...
camera.
Sure.
Yeah.
The thing is you have to be cautious with the idea of
I
the nanny state.
agree,
For another
but it is
reason
a good
besides
argument,
just
you
protecting
know,
people's independent
like,
privacy is
I don't
because
know.
those things often
Because
become...
that's one of the dilemmas that I argue with. I have to deal with a lot, right? Because I do believe in absolute freedom. But at the same time, like, that comes at a cost. And that cost is often not paid by me. I mean, if I fuck up, I pay a cost, and I'm totally like, I'm okay living in any world where if I fuck up, I have to be held accountable for it, right? Ideally, as long as other people are too, right? I also won't infringe on a person's right to have children. But then you do get the question, like, what about those children? And I had a really rough time growing up, right? I had it bad compared to most people in the United States. But like let's just say, just like it's a thought experiment. because I'm not going to say I'm in the 98th percentile of worst childhoods, right? But let's just imagine that I was, for the sake of argument, and then realize that if I was in the 98th percentile for like bad childhoods, like there's still 2% of room there, and there's a lot of degrees in that 2%. You know what I mean? Like, and so I have like I think about that, but I also like have a shit ton of empathy, not just for people who go through that, but like this is gonna sound terrible, honestly. I almost feel worse for dogs that have owners that just abandon them after time or stuff like that. And it's not that I'm like making a moral equivalency or thinking that dogs feel more than humans or that dogs are superior to humans in any way. But I will say the one thing that dogs are superior at to humans, and this is, you can't argue it, you can't fight it, it's incontrovertible. Like, they are loyal to a fault, right? And so to me, the betrayal of that loyalty is just, it's almost as bad as the betrayal of, like, a mother to her child. Like, it's almost as bad to me. It's not quite as bad, but I feel a lot of empathy for that as well. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of pain in the world, and if I stop for a moment and try to think about it, I can get lost in it. I try not to be perfectly honest, because it's very easy to get lost in it. And I imagine leftists are very similar. They just get lost in the pain and their supposed empathy or whatever. But I always, I think the problem with leftists is not that they identify problems poorly, it's that their solutions suck. So
money wells
Oh yeah.
for people to steal from the public trough.
Oh yeah.
And that is the major issue, right? So some of the reasons I tend, even though I'm on the paleo-Christian side, to lean towards a lot of the freedom elements over the not is because of the corruption. The corruption which happens oftentimes when you try to curtail too much, right? That
Right.
in and of itself creates a system, and that system becomes ripe for corruption. Let me give you an example. Flock cams, who we awarding the contracts to.
Right.
And who's going to be servicing those contracts, who's going to be doing these things, right? That's where you start to see, with new systems, there becomes new corruption. So there has to be a way to curtail, but there's some things that are pretty obvious that you could curtail, and who cares if people bitch about it? Like, let's take online prostitution, for instance. Okay, great. It's illegal to do OnlyFans, let's say. How the hell could that possibly be bad for society? Like, what is that going to do that's just... Oh, we got to have that, though, Andrew. We got to have that. It's like, I don't think we do. I don't think it's necessary. And if we got rid of it, like, who cares? It seems like it would just be a massive net positive for every human being if that was just done away with altogether. And it's like, what the systems that come in, too, though, for policing it are prone to corruption. So you got to be cautious about it.
Right.
Right? You got to be cautious about it.
Also, I just don't like people telling people what to do, even if they shouldn't be doing it. I don't like it.
I mean, to an
think-
extent, though, right? Like, if they're heroin addicts, you're going to be like, nah, we got to...
Well, even that, like, I don't think you should be a heroin addict, but I don't think I should be the one to tell you not to do heroin. Because I think it's a slippery slope, and then it's don't smoke cigarettes. And then it's because cigarettes are killing you. Mm-hmm. And then it's don't drink whiskey because you could be a drunk driver and kill a family of 5. Like, it's all the same shit. It's like...
But do you think that all those have kind of the same impact on society ultimately?
Well, the heroin thing is a weird one because...
Because, like, the argument I make would be like the incest argument. It'd be like, look, that's outlawed for a good reason. But what if you have 2 people who are totally sterile? Like, they can't have kids... Right? What's the moral argument that can be made? And people are like, well, I can't really make a moral argument.
Gross.
With that. It's just gross.
You're fucking your sister,
bro.
Yeah,
what are you doing? It's just gross. And it's like, well, but can we legislate off of it's just gross? And the kind of the libertarian mindset is, no, we can't. And I think, yeah, we can. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay about... I remember debating with Dave Smith who brought this up.
What would you do? Would you arrest some guy and his sister if you found out they were boning each other?
Why not?
Arrest them?
Why not? Like, how would deterring that society-wide ever be a bad idea.
I don't think it is. However, it's technically a victimless crime, especially under the circumstances that you described, whereas they're both sterile. I do not think you should be able to do that.
Or people that should have gotten a Darwin Award, but they're allowed to live.
say.
Yeah, well, it's not even
But
people
in
who
the
should have
case of
gotten a Darwin
Cersei
Award.
and
It's a people who should have gotten a Darwin Award, and instead, my tax dollars are keeping not just them, but their 8 children sustained. You know, like it's one of the reasons why I like Florida. Like, you're allowed to fuck around and find out. You know, like. Okay, I'm capturing that for you. I'm capturing that for you, sure, Tugal. I'm capturing that. I'm just gonna go ahead, just like I'm gonna save that and post it on all the Discords I have. Just kidding, just kidding. Um, holy shit, Joe. Yeah, he's. I don't know, man. Like, look, I don't. Oof. It's weird. It's weird because I think it's terribly gross, but I understand the moral dilemma, right? Because we're not using it as it's great, you know, we're all against it, great, fantastic, right? But in the context of the conversation, which is where do you draw the line, right? And he's saying, well, we just, you know, it's gross, right? Like, okay, cool, we can agree it's gross, we can make it illegal, but then, like, you know, what if people think people being gay is gross? You know, like, we're not arguing, they're not arguing about incest. The subtext is about the principles and where you draw the line in your principles, or whether or not you're willing to cross those principles, right? I think that's the reason why he's saying that, to give him some credit, right? You have to understand, that's the context of this argument. Nobody's sitting here trying to say that, like, oh, we should let people bang their sisters, right? Nobody's trying to do that. This is a thought experiment they're having. Yeah, exactly. And the context is extreme for the point of trying to point out the subtle point of where's the line, right? So try to be a little less harsh, but I know where you're coming from, right? But like Trish, try to keep the context of the conversation in mind, and we have to do that. You have to have uncomfortable conversations and bring up extreme hypotheticals in order to establish principles. It's a thing. Sometimes you have to have those uncomfortable conversations, and I think that people as a society should be able to have conversations like this more without there being cringe or you know, like or you know, because we're both obviously against the everybody here is against the incest, but we're arguing with our own principles in our head right now and saying, like, I think it's gross, but if they're both sterile, who are they hurting, right? And it's like, do I keep my principle of, like, well, if they're not hurting anybody, then I don't, you know, then what am I going to do about it, right? Nothing, right? That would be my usual response. Or do you violate your principle of leaving people alone who aren't actually hurting people and do something about it, right? And that's the real question, not whether or not you support or tolerate incest.
what's his face? What's the other dude's name in Game of Thrones? The brother and sister?
Oh, yeah.
It really seemed like they were in love, dude.
Sure.
I mean, they really seemed
but
like
they
they were
had
in love.
kids. They had like incest babies, right? Who went on to rule kingdoms, and they were all like Joffrey.
Joffrey's
Probably didn't want the incest baby in charge of the kingdom. It didn't work out so well.
The other incest baby who was in charge of the kingdom, he jumped off the roof.
True.
Remember?
And wasn't Jon Snow technically doing incest as well with the Queen of Dragons? Like, weren't they both? Yeah,
They're related.
Yeah,
They're in the basket.
they were pretty
Right?
yeah.
Something.
Yeah, there
like
was a lot of
half
there
a
was a lot of
sister or
incest
something.
Man,
in
there's
Game
a
of
lot of
Thrones.
incest in there. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't
But
know
the
that.
other argument there that's interesting is it's like, okay, that's, fair enough. It's a victimless crime, but you can just kind of extend that. Like, okay, well, then why can't a guy have 5 wives? Why can't he have 20? Why can't 20 gay men all get married and adopt one child?
Exactly.
It's a victimless
See.
crime.
Yeah.
It's like, so doesn't the slippery slope kind of go the other way a little bit too?
Yeah, it does. It does go the other way. And the multiple wives thing, didn't they just pass something like that in Toronto? Wasn't that in Ontario? where they're allowing polygamy now because they have so many Islamic people living there that think that you should be allowed to have.
Well, remember there was big pushes for that in Utah because of the Mormon population.
Well, that's why Mitt Romney's family moved to Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Oh, yeah.
It was due to the multiple wives? I didn't know that it was due to the multiple wives.
Well, not specifically, but that sect of Mormonism fled the United States when they passed polygamy laws.
Even if I know
I think there was
actors,
probably just a broader crackdown on this perceived new cult. They thought of it as a cult. Now it's just established religion of really nice people that knock on your door.
Yeah.
They drive around.
I must admit, I have debated many Mormons, and they're just the nicest people.
The nicest people.
The nicest people.
It's the best cult.
And it makes me, it's upsetting because I'm like, look, I'm about to expose that your prophet was totally fake. And, I'm trying to get people into the debate, and they just end up being like the nicest people. And I go, oh, man.
So having multiple wives or spouses is illegal in Canada under Section 290.
I'm in complete agreement. Like, I've never personally met a Mormon who wasn't just like an absolutely upstanding citizen. I don't know. Look, I may have judgments for Mormons, but I mean, I'd have to say, like, if I put me next to like any average Mormon, and they probably live a much nicer and genuine life than even I do. Like I might have my criticisms of Mormons, but Jesus, they are really good people most of the time. Like, in my experience. I know that there's some weird stuff and some stuff I don't like, but they are, like, they really genuinely strive to be good people, and they take that seriously. Like, that, it's impressive.
3 polygamy and Section 290 bigamy. What is bigamy?
Is that the other way? Is bigamy the other way? So
No.
polygamy is the man with multiple.
Do you know what it is, Jamie? Do you know what bigamy is? Ever heard of it? I don't even think I've ever seen that written. The act of marrying one person while still legally married.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, a bigamist, right? Duh.
Interesting story here, though.
What?
Some guy was married to 4 people at once. Sorry. 4 people at once in some way or another recently, like this year.
In America?
In Canada, Canada.
He was married to
man.
4 women at once?
Multiple wives, married. So he got multiple marriage licenses and should not have been given them or something.
Oh, well, he doesn't
They
look
get missed.
Muslim. That guy looks like he's
That's
just
not
a
the
regular
guy.
Christian
That's
guy.
the guy.
Oh, well, he does look Muslim.
But I don't know if it has anything to do
He
with
might
that.
not be, though. He might just be a baller.
He could be a Muslim.
Yeah, I don't know if it has anything to do with religion.
Go back to that case in Canada, though. Isn't there something where they're trying to pass it in Toronto?
I don't think so. I mean, I typed in Toronto multiple wives.
Yeah, no, Toronto, Ontario polygamy. I think they were trying to pass something.
I mean, that's why I went to news to see something, that would have popped
Was it
up.
Ottawa? Maybe it was Ottawa. Yeah. Canada polygamy. No new law in Canada legalizing multiple wives.
Perhaps proposed law.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe it is a proposed law. Maybe I just read some horse shit on Twitter, which is very possible. Whew, I've been off Twitter for a few days. I feel pretty good.
It's good to unplug from Twitter.
Yeah, every now and then I just go in and I'm like, God, who are they mad at now? Oh, God.
Can I ask you
get
a
out of
question?
here. Yeah, sure.
If you went into X tomorrow, let's say, and there was an option there where you could select it and it's like U.S. accounts only. That's all you could see. Do you think that 90% of the traffic for people would go away?
A giant percentage.
Huge percentage,
Huge
right?
percentage is people being manipulated into arguments. It is a strategy.
By foreign assets,
By
right?
foreign assets.
Yeah.
It is a strategy. It is real. This is not tinfoil hat shit. We brought this up multiple times on the podcast, but I'll bring it up again just for the sake of this. There was an FBI analyst who took a look at Twitter when Elon was buying it, and he estimated that 80% of the traffic is bots.
This doesn't surprise me. Remember, YouTube did an internal audit. And when they did their internal audit, this was a few years back, and when Susan still ran it, I believe, they did an internal audit and found out that most of the people that they had on YouTube were bots, and they did a great purge.
Wow.
Right? That's where that whole dead internet theory and all that really started to pick up traction, was that, hey, look, a lot of this stuff is bots, foreign accounts, people who are manipulating U.S. Elections. They're manipulating various U.S. interests, and this is happening all over the place.
Yeah.
Right now, you have progressives who are funded by ActBlue, right? And I've proven this. We traced all their money. It's progressives funded by ActBlue who are pushing the same narrative that, like, Candace Owens and others are pushing on the idea of Charlie Kirk's death and the conspiracy around that. So
they're absolutely being paid to push this?
Well, their stated mission, this particular progressive group, their stated mission was to take down TPUSA. I'll tell you a story. This is the tale of all tales.
Okay.
So Charlie Kirk has this huge outreach program that's happening through TPUSA on these college campuses. He's got viral clip after viral clip after viral clip, and they are going wild. He's going campus to campus. He's doing his thing. He's being dogged by a progressive organization. This progressive organization shows up at almost all of these TPUSA events with the stated mission of trying to create a counter movement to what TPUSA is doing. Now, the woman who heads this particular organization received millions of dollars from ActBlue and other progressive organizations for this stated mission. That same woman right this second works with other X accounts to push the messaging that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by his own TPUSA insiders in order to push that narrative forward, because the stated goal still from that organization is to destroy TPUSA.
So how do we know that they've done this? Are there emails that have been found?
Well, the stated goal of this particular person
is to take down
TPUSA.
Right.
She's very open about that. And then the way that you know that they are talking to these other accounts is because they do it publicly. Those public accounts will talk to this account, right? Very openly. They reaffirm each other's posts. They say, wow, that's real interesting, this kind of thing. All affirming that same conspiracy that TPUSA was the ones who actually set up and murdered Charlie Kirk. And at millions of dollars in ActBlue funding going towards this. No joke. Anybody can look it up right now. The organization's called Unfuck America.
So how do they think that his organization did this? That they convinced Tyler Robinson to do it, or did they think someone else did it?
I don't think that the progressive organization does believe that TPUSA did this. I think that what they want to do
I understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are they trying to say?
Oh, well, here's what the theory is. So take Ian Carroll, within 24 hours after Kirk's death, blames Israel. Within 24 hours, he says, Israel killed Kirk. That was his tweet, went mega viral. What the conspiracy is on that side is that Israel, along with Erica Kirk and TPUSA insiders, got together with elements of the U.S. government to murder Charlie Kirk because he was going to leave the, quote, pro-Israel cause. That's what the theory is.
Right.
And that he was either murdered, some of them say with a microphone exploding, some of them say with there was a second shooter, and Robinson's a patsy. It all depends on which theorist you're talking to. But they all work together in the same unison from a single camp, which is interesting.
Well, a lot of people had takes on the shooting, and the microphone one was the weirdest one to me. It's weird because there's no, the shirt is moving, but also a bullet is going how many feet per second, whizzing through the air? Do you understand?
Splits air.
Yeah.
So where's the air going to go?
People don't understand that.
You know what got me, though? So I went back and looked, because they say that it's the same explosive which was used inside the Israeli pagers. Now, that was very real. Israel sent these pagers all over.
But that would be an explosion. That's my take. My point is, there's no indication that there's an ignition.
It's worse. There's no smoke.
Right.
There's no now. All the Israeli. If you pulled up right now one of these Israeli pagers going, because there's tons of videos of them.
Oh, really? Let's watch.
Yeah.
Let me see some Israeli.
You're going to
see
smoke
blowing off.
There's smoke.
Is there a dude where it's on his hip?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep. There's one where it's on his hip and gets him. And you can see the cloud of smoke coming off because of the specific type of ignition from
Right,
this
but is it
explosive.
possible that this pager thing is different than whatever they think this microphone thing is? This microphone thing has some sort of a different kind of propellant.
No,
but then
they-
again, you'd have to like, okay, let's imagine what kind of propellant exists, right? Compressed air. There's not enough room in that microphone to get enough compressed air to blow a hole in your neck and kill you instantly.
Well, they claim that it's
Unless it's something else.
It's this, what is it, PETN explosive. This is the particular type that had to be used for the size of the microphone. But you have another problem. The mic's on the wrong side of where the wound is.
Right.
The other is there's no burn marks. There's no smoke. There's nothing. There's nothing to confirm this theory at all.
You'd have to guess where that mic is, because he's moving around too. You have to guess where that mic is pointing. You could take someone out.
So I found
on the
2
side.
videos.
This one's
is the
great.
Main one that goes. I'll show you. This happens again here.
Watch the smoke.
Right here.
See all that smoke?
Oh, let me see that
detonation?
again.
Yeah.
Watch all the
Dude's
smoke.
just chilling, and boom!
Look at all
it
that
blew up
smoke.
in his bag, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of them like they didn't die. They go to the hospital and they're just like hurt.
Probably because they had it in their bag or
And I
something.
found one other video here.
Bro, these guys are going
I
to be
think it's
carrying
this
around like
one.
armored satchels.
Well, yeah, you get like a couple of them were on bikes and stuff when it happened. Like that guy got fucked up.
Yeah, he got messed up real bad.
There's some, or they give you the illusion they did by blurring out his head.
That's the other part. I mean, not that these are fake, but yes, it's only 11 were killed by the pagers.
still pretty slick.
That was extremely slick.
I mean, crazy. They sent him off to them years ago.
That's some CIA shit, man. Like
They're
that's
better.
some deep
That's
state
Mossad
wow.
shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's probably where the CIA learned it. But that's an explosion, right? And yeah, you see smoke. But is there some kind of a propellant that would be lethal from a short distance with some sort of a projectile?
It's possible.
But it would also like have to be like, how are you aiming it? You're not even aiming it. It's sitting up here, right? So if it's sitting here and he's doing all this and moving around, like it might take his ear off. It might whiz to the side and shoot somebody else if he leans over.
Sure.
Unless they planned exactly when it's going to go off and it's pointing towards his neck. Like,
Which,
no.
yeah.
It seems like a gunshot wound. It's just hard to imagine that it's a 30-06. That's my issue with it. I look at it and, you know, I've seen takes from guys that are gun experts, and they have a problem with it too. The thing about guns, though, is weird stuff happens
Constantly.
when you shoot bones. Like, it is possible that you wouldn't get a pass-through, depending on how it squared the spinal column, depending on how it hit, and depending on what kind of bullet it is. I forget the type.
These are 150 grain core lock
Core
soft
locks.
tips.
That's right.
And they're soft tip.
Right,
So they
which
only have enough of a
expands.
jacket to keep the bullet together.
Right. The idea is that it expands inside the body, causing massive trauma.
Right.
Right.
Which
so,
is why I use them for hunting, and probably you have to.
Yeah. No, I haven't used that particular round.
Gotcha.
But it just seems like it's a lot of energy
It is.
coming towards your neck. It's hard to believe that it wouldn't blow a hole through the neck and leave a big just take a chunk out, that it would just make a round hole. But that's beside the point. You know, there's other weird stuff with like the video. I don't like. There's a lot of people saying that the video is super clear. They're seeing 4K footage. It's clearly Tyler Robinson on the roof. No, it's not.
Jack Persobic and Vinny Johnson.
That's crazy that they said that. That is not clear. That is a blurry figure. You could barely ascertain as to whether or not there's a recoil when someone takes the shot. So it does seem like the guy on the roof gets in a prone position, and it looks like something that might be a rifle, right? It's blurry as fuck.
It also does look like there's kickback on the right leg.
It looks like there might be some recoil. It's hard, but it's not clear. Like, for them to say it's crystal clear, it's Tyler Robinson, it's on the roof, it's like,
Well, it's interesting. When Persobic came out and said that, and Vinny Johnson, there was another guy who was there who I know. His name's Kai Schwimmer. And Kai put out a tweet. He said, look, they might have sensationalized this just a bit. Okay. He said, but the video that we did see in the courtroom was actually much clearer.
oh, okay.
So I DM'd him, and I DM'd Jack Persobic. And I I couldn't get a hold of Vinny, but I DM'd Jack Persobic, and I said, just be straight with me. Like, did you try to over-sensationalize this thing for clicks? Like, what's the deal? He said, no, listen, The footage we did see inside the courtroom was actually a lot clearer than anything that the public has seen so far. That's their claim. Kai Schwimmer, now I wouldn't just take Prosobic as word, but Kai Schwimmer, he's a Mormon, Mormon kid, not very prone to tall tales. In fact, he was the first one who came out and said, look, I was there, and you're kind of over-sensationalizing it. It is a lot clearer, but it's not showing everything that you're claiming it's showing.
So it's clearer, but it's not clear enough. It's not like 4K, close-up, clearly his face. The other thing that was weird was the guy in the crowd that jumped up and said, I killed him. That's weird. And that guy, wasn't he at the Boston bombing as well?
So he's a professional agitator who's been at tons and tons of these events. Later, he's found, I believe, with kiddie porn, right?
How convenient.
Well,
also,
maybe
that's the kind of guy.
That's the kind of guy, though, right?
Yeah.
And so he has been at tons of events agitating, and he is well known to law enforcement for doing this. So that's kind of what they're stating for him. If you're looking at this from a broad view, if you're looking at the conspiracy side versus what they call the Fed slop side, let's say, it makes sense for them to say, hey, wait a second, that's really weird. This guy jumps up and says, I did it. Right. That makes he's a patsy, distraction, something like this. Until you look into the guy.
Right.
And the guy is a lunatic who's been at many of these events doing crazy stuff like this.
That's the thing, is both things can be true. Like MK Ultra is real. Also, that guy might just have been a kook who was in the crowd who took advantage of a situation because he's literally insane and he's into kiddie porn.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. One of the biggest kind of false narratives that comes out of this, when I do debates, one of the things I'm trying to structure around is like, I know that we're coming in with a narrative, but I need to understand yours, and you need to understand mine so we can get somewhere towards what the truth is here, right? Because you're going to have a frame of which you're viewing the world, a worldview, and so am I. And so everybody has a worldview. We have to figure each other's out to get somewhere. Here with this, one of the most disturbing aspects of it is the people who promote this actually don't want their worldview or their positions to be examined. They only want to examine the evidence from the state. It's like that would be fine, I think, if it was the case that you made no claims past that.
Right.
So if you just only say, hey, I'm not really sure what happened, and I want to really kind of review the evidence, and that's that, I don't really have a problem with that. I think that that's probably healthy. The issue that I run into is when people make claims past that. Oh, it was an exploding mic.
Right.
It was 2 different shooters. It was a folding rifle. It was the 30-06 couldn't do this, even though the U.S. Army, remember, the 30-06 used in the M1 Garand was used in World War II, and then it was used in Korea. Before that, we had the 03 Springfield. It was used heavily in World War I, World War II, and again in Korea. The U.S. Army has studied 30-06 entry wounds in depth and produced many manuals on it explaining how cavitation works with 30-06 and that the bullet doesn't always penetrate. And that's with full metal jacket rounds that are designed for maximum penetration, not 150 grain core locked coming out of an antique rifle, essentially. It could easily split up very quickly. And that's why they ended up pulling fragments out of Charlie. It wouldn't surprise me if when we have all of the data from the coroner report that he has tons of shards all throughout his chest, all throughout his entire, because they were saying that there's trauma inside the chest, which would make sense if the bullet split up here.
Right.
It would create all sorts of fragments down in the chest.
Right. That is an important distinction about the type of bullet.
Huge distinction. The FMJ especially, because that's what the Army was using, is FMJ ball ammunition. It's cheap to produce, right? So they're using it in all these different wars. And the amount of people shot with that caliber between World War I, II, and Korea is astronomical. They even used the 30-06 in Vietnam in limited capacity, especially the 03 Springfield. It was still in service by Special Forces. Wow. So the question becomes, like, the U.S. Army has studied this in depth, and I went back and I pulled all their manuals, and I've even put them out, and several people have done the exact same thing and put them out explaining how cavitation works. And they're saying, look, the energy dissipation, the second it hits a human body, it dissipates very, very, very quickly with the resistance. So it doesn't always go through. Now, oftentimes it does with the FMJ, but even then, it didn't always go through. So, it's a well-studied phenomenon. Another one would be Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King gets hit through the jaw, ends up here. Well, if it's just going to blow through all bone, why did it stop in him? Well, it's because the second it has impact, it begins to slow down, and then it impacts something else, slows down even more. So it's totally possible that this guy was hit with a 30-06. I don't know why that would be in the realm of impossibility. We have enough data on the ammo to know that, yeah, it's very possible this happened.
It is definitely possible. There's a lot of people that think that the sound was not. They think the sound indicated that it was a closer shot than where it was. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, there's also an issue with it being supersonic ammo. So you're getting two sounds. You're getting a sound of the bullet actually breaking the air. You're also getting the sound of the rifle going off. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's difficult there when you're making the judgments on the sound, because there are people who've run experiments saying right down to the second this meets up with a shot placement. And then there's people who say, no, that experiment is bogus due to the controls for this or that. The problem is that most of these people don't have any expertise in this arena at all.
they're just yapping.
And they're just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're just trying to, and I get it. You're trying to figure it out. I understand.
The Israel thing, there was some text messages back and forth where Charlie was talking about getting out of the Israel business. And there was this position that he had where he did not want us to go to war with Iran.
All true.
And he had a lot of influence. And then there was also that Israel supposedly had offered him $150 million to be more pro-Israel.
That is the problem that we've run into. Is like, I've never been able to verify that was the case. And
Okay, so where does that claim come from?
This claim basically comes from this camp without anything to substantiate it.
So it's the same people that are pushing this thing.
Yeah.
The Turning Point killed them.
What's interesting about this is, like, it is indeed true. It does appear that Charlie Kirk was extremely pissed off at some of his donors because they were trying to control who he was platforming. They were upset that he had platformed Tucker Carlson. They were upset that he had platformed Candace Owens. They were upset. And why? Well, it's because Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, they were very anti, or at least had a somewhat anti-Israel message at the time. Carlson, I think, a bit more than Candace, or maybe it could be the reverse. But I don't think that matters too much. The donors were pissed off. Many of them were pro-Israel. And some of these donors were applying pressure. And so Kirk was lamenting inside of his text messages about this pressure he was experiencing from some of his donors about who he could or couldn't platform. And so as a negotiating piece, he said, well, I'll leave the pro-Israeli cause if you're going to try to tell me who I can and can't platform. And that was kind of what his position was. Now, that seems like platforming. I don't know, even on Twitch politics or YouTube politics with smaller channels, smaller streamers, they argue about platforming all the time, responsible platforming. Is it responsible for you to platform this guy? Is it responsible for you to platform this terrorist? And they're endlessly fighting about it. So this actually doesn't surprise me a bit that these guys are fighting over who you can or can't platform. If you're giving your money to an NGO for the purpose of giving the pro cause, and that NGO is saying, wait a second, I'm going to platform people who are against your cause, of course the donor is going to get pissed.
Yeah, the platforming thing, I think, is just gatekeeping. If you're upset that someone is having a conversation or a debate with someone that you don't agree with, you're supposed to hear that person's perspective. You're supposed to hear them challenged. You're supposed to hear them allowed to flesh out the full point of view.
Yep.
Not like in weird clip form, but go ahead, tell me what you really think, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that.
Yeah.
That's healthy. It's supposed to be what we do.
Because you're basically reciting what Kirk's position was.
Yes, and what he was always really good at.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a few clips. There's the clips thing with Charlie, where he's saying things and people think it's racist. He's saying things, and it's like you have to understand the context of what he was saying. And I've had conversations with black friends who think like he was saying, if I see a black pilot on a plane, I get worried. Is he qualified? The reason why he's saying that is because there are specific laws that were designed to hire people just based on their race and not on their competency. He wasn't saying that black people weren't competent as pilots. What he's worried is that in the rush to meet these quotas, they're going to hire people who are not competent just because they're black.
100%.
Just like If they wanted to hire old white guys, they can hire a bunch of old white guys who suck if they just want to fill a quota of old white guys. It just happens at this particular time where he's talking about black people. And it seems like if you just look at the clip, this racist piece of shit doesn't think black people can fly a plane. And that's the unfortunate thing about thinking out loud, right? Which is what we do. We think out loud in public. And when you think out loud in public, someone can take what you're saying and take a clip of it and completely out of context, it looks bad.
Happens to me all the time.
It happens to me.
Sure.
But I had that conversation with people about Charlie, and I'm like, I don't agree with Charlie Kirk. I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk on everything. I met him once. He was a very nice guy. I met him at a gun range. I met him at Terran Tactical in L.A. It's a place where you learn, like, serious gun shoot. This is where Keanu Reeves learned for John Wick and a bunch of
Is that where all those videos are from?
Yes,
Where Keanu
yes.
Reeves is going between
100%.
shotgun to three gun and that kind of thing?
Exactly. That's where I met Charlie.
He's really good at that, by the way.
Who? Keanu? Oh,
Reeves.
yeah.
He is really good at
he's
that.
fucking dedicated, man. When he was practicing, I mean, I talked to Taryn about it. When he was practicing for John Wick, I mean, he was obsessive. Yeah. He was obsessive. And, you know, that whole magazine thing he does, the flick, he invented that. That's not something that's like a standard thing. Most of the time, people just hit the release, drop the mag, pop the new mag. He decided to do this jazzy flick thing, and now people do it all the time. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
I never put that together. I guess I haven't actually seen that before.
No,
before the Wick
I think
movies.
it's him. I think it's the Wick flick.
Yeah.
I think
Wick flick.
Yeah, I think
love it.
Keanu. At least this is the people that were.
But even the way he reloads the shotgun is interesting.
Yeah.
Right? The way that he'll actually hold it up as he's going in, and in between a few shots, he's loading again. It's like
and fast.
Yeah,
Fast and smooth.
That's not the thing that you usually see in movies. Usually in movies, it's like you have way more rounds than you should have to compensate for how bad the actor is at gun handling.
Exactly.
For him, it's like the opposite.
I do that in movies. I'm like, why is he shooting still? He's out of bullets.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
out of
the
bullets.
famous
It's 29 shots. He's out of bullets.
Did you ever see The Walking Dead? You remember
Yeah.
the famous scene where Herschel's in the front and he's got the pump action shotgun? It's just unlimited ammo. Unlimited ammo. I was like, he found Solid Snake's unlimited ammo bandana and put it on, and he is just, I mean, 100 rounds with this pump action shotgun. It's just, he just never stops.
It's so crazy. It's so silly.
And I get pissed. I'll be sitting there watching it with my wife, and I'll be like, when's he gonna reload? When's he gonna? This is bullshit.
Well, the reason why it was so good was Taryn. Like, Taryn is really meticulous, and he's a multiple-time world champion shooter. You know, he does those competitions, shooter ready, beep, and he's like super in the spectrum, so he fucking just sees things differently. He doesn't miss. He's crazy good. Like,
So
it's
Charlie was
humbling.
training under him, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were both there at the same time.
Interesting.
Just randomly, you know, ran into him there. Actually, anyway, very nice guy. And the point is, like, people think that he was like this mean, shitty, conservative. He wasn't mean. He was very kind. And the way he would talk to people, if you see enough of these, not the clips, but enough of these conversations with people, it depended entirely on how the person approached him. And when people were respectful and reasonable with him, he was very kind and respectful and reasonable back. I think he was a good man. I really do. And he was a young man, too.
He was.
He was a young man that was getting an enormous amount of attention at a very young age. It was handling it very well. It is not easy to do.
Especially, think about where he was going.
Yeah.
This guy's going into, it's like conservatives have wanted this my whole life. We've got to get into those institutions, the college institutions.
Yes.
The progressives have a stranglehold. Jordan Peterson talked a lot about this.
Well, I think Crowder did it first.
he did. He
Yeah.
had the Change My Mind series.
Yes, and he's great at those.
He is.
I mean, but those also, there's clips where, look, you're in these agitated environments and people are yelling at you and you're yelling back, and, you know, just get a clip of that. It's like, oh, this guy comes to harass kids. Like, you should welcome discourse, and it should be something where everybody can do peacefully. It shouldn't be where these people speak and you hit the fire alarm because you don't want them speaking, and you're outside screaming and chanting and throwing rocks at their cars. Like, that's crazy. That's bad for everybody.
Last time I talked to Steven, because he went and did a couple more of those after Kirk had died. And I said, you know, that's just dangerous as hell, man. You know, and he's like, well, I'm just going to build a bulletproof, like, glass square, and I'll just do it from there.
Wow.
Right? That
That's
was
crazy.
his dedication to it. Now, I like Steven. He's become a very good friend of mine over the time that I've known him. It's just that, like, right now going on these college campuses and doing these debates where these people are coming up, they have some things to say. It's gonna heighten the energy. Now, Crowder's whole thing is not to debate. He wants to sit down and just have the convo.
Yeah.
I don't want to debate. I want to actually see if you can change my mind on this issue.
Right.
And so it's a lot calmer. But
Right.
Charlie's wasn't.
Right.
Charlie's was much more energy-based. It was combative, things like this. And it pissed a lot of people off. It pissed them off so bad that after he died, we did 3 weeks on TikTok, going and talking to various TikTokers in their channels who were just celebrating his death like you can't believe. They were just giddy. These leftists were jumping up and down. I'd go into their TikTok spaces and say, so what do you think of Charlie? And they'd say, oh, I'm glad he's dead. It's the best thing that ever happened to the country. Tyler Robinson's a hero. They said this stuff to me live. It was bad. And it was weeks of it that we went and exposed these various TikTokers doing that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people online celebrating, and it's just disturbing, weird to watch that you would encourage that kind of gun violence. Like, when is the left encouraging gun violence? That seems so insane. Just because you got a hold of some clips, and I'm telling you, you didn't get the full understanding of who this guy was.
No.
And who he could be. Again, he's 28 years old. Who knows who he's going to be in 20 years? Like, he's a nice guy. He was a reasonable guy. Like, celebrating that guy's death, what you're going to do is you're going to make more monsters. You're going to make more people that think if you didn't like that guy, well, then fuck you.
Yeah. Wait till you see when the mean people come out.
Exactly.
That, and I've heard a lot of that. And some of that actually ties in.
I'm
going to
make a comment right here.
With TPUSA.
Like, right here.
Initially, including myself, we were like, where's the energy? You need to, like, they just killed this guy in broad daylight.
Well, I think everybody was rattled.
These crazy leftists, right? Like, where's the push? Where's the energy? We wanted our war, right? Our verbal online war.
Do you think there's any possibility that someone else killed him? Do you think there's any possibility that he was assassinated by Israel?
Well, when we're talking about possibility, almost anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
But there's not good evidence to support it, and there's probably pretty good evidence not to. So for instance, the guy was still very much of a pro-Israel guy, even up to death. It is true that he was fighting with donors about the cause.
But if he could have been a substantial roadblock to the Iraq war, or Iran war rather, if he was a substantial roadblock, I mean, that's not outside the realm of possibility that a nation state would take a guy like that out.
They didn't take out Fuentes. They didn't take out Owens. They didn't take out Ian Carroll. They didn't take out any of these other huge personalities who were roadblocks to the way.
I think Charlie was very different. Carroll, or excuse me, Fuentes is more easy to dismiss because he said so many wild things, shit posting. He said so many crazy things that I think he is almost embodying, in their eyes, like the crazy anti-Semite. Whereas Charlie was not an anti-Semite, was much more reasonable, and if he was going against Israel, it could be a real problem. I also think that he had a tremendous amount of influence on the president. He had his ear. I think the president respected him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The interesting part, though, if you look at the history there, Fuentes conducted his Graper War against TPUSA and Charlie Kirk because of the pro-Israel stance and because of his pro-homosexual stance, his like big tent Republicanism, he called it. Yeah. So they had the pro stances for these things. And what's interesting about all of it, if you follow the details of it up until Kirk's death, TPUSA actually moved a lot more towards the Groyper-Fuentes position than they moved towards the kind of pro-Israel, this type of position, meaning a lot of the ideology that I think Kirk was changing on came from these various outside influences. And so if that's the case, why wouldn't you just curtail those outside influences and then you can keep Kirk as the mouthpiece, right? So I think that there's a pretty good counter to that idea. Now, you can't rule anything out as possibility, but it seems likely to me with how much trans have been shooting everything up for the last couple of years and how often it's the case that you find leftists involved in these signal groups and involved in these group chats and things like this for the purpose of radicalization. Wouldn't surprise me a bit if there was a left-wing conspiracy assisting Tyler Robinson and radicalizing Tyler Robinson. There's at least some evidence for that based on the Discord groups, things like this that they were part of. I haven't actually seen a single piece of evidence that Israel was ever involved in this.
No, I haven't seen the evidence. I've seen a lot of speculation based on the text that Charlie made, the fact that he was so staunchly against the Iran war, and the fact that he did say that he was thinking about getting out of the Israel business, the pro-Israel business. But in this climate, Israel gets blamed for a lot of things. There's also a thing that's going on with the Charlie Kirk turning point, that we talked about earlier. They have to factor in with this, which is that there's a lot of outside interests that are.
I'm not gonna lie. This is really not interesting to me. This is like there's a lot of stuff that I could be talking about. This is. The conspiracy idea that maybe Israel killed Charlie Kirk is just not what I was excited about here. I don't know. It's weird.
A part of this conversation, and this conversation is not necessarily organic. I can't tell you how many times I see a post on X and I'm like, that can't be real. Like someone has been arrested and charges will be filed imminently, and then you
and it's not true at all.
Not true at all.
Yeah.
It's completely
That's
fabricated.
like the clips of you where it's like Joe Rogan reacts.
Yeah.
And they're just all totally fake.
Not me at all.
Yeah, it's not you
I'm
at
not
all.
reacting at all.
Yeah.
But if you use that, that's the problem with the world that we're in now too. That there's this economy on attention. Attention is a commodity, and the more you can get attention,
whatever, which is why it's skewing where it's
your
skewing.
conspiracies are awesome for attention. People will love them now because look, COVID
I like 'em.
turned a lot of. I love them.
I like them.
Love them. I love.
Dude, I want to watch some shit on the UFOs right
flat
now.
Earth and
And
space
look,
is fake.
Dude,
just be honest,
they
they're
just
fun.
released some
Fun.
new shit.
They're
I kind
really
of want to look
fun.
into
Oh
it.
yeah, dude, the flat Earth one is fun.
Oh, yeah.
The dinosaurs aren't real one. That one's great.
But have you noticed, the flat earthers have fleets of people who will debate their stances? Fleets of them who are like, we can't wait to debate with you on the flat earth. It's like, on the other side, though, in this particular conspiracy, you can't get these people to debate their positions.
Like, who won't debate their positions?
We offered Candace Owens, I offered her $300,000 to do a debate. I was like, we'll give you $300,000.
What is her position? What does she think happened?
She thinks that Israel worked in conjunction with TPUSA and Erica Kirk to murder Charlie.
Based on what?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Nobody actually knows. She's never presented a single shred of evidence thus far that Israel ever worked to murder Kirk, that Erica Kirk certainly didn't. In fact, her position for the longest time was if Erica Kirk comes out and tells me to stop this, to stop the conspiracy on this, I will. So Erica did. She went out publicly and she was like, enough. You're just causing more problems than good here as this investigation's going on. And then suddenly Erica's now part of the conspiracy. By the next day, she's trying to cover it up. She's part of the conspiracy too. When I went to the TPUSA HQ, and I talked to Erica briefly while I was there, the first thing I did was what I think every normal, moral human being would ever do. I gave her a hug. And I told her how god-awful sorry I was that happened to her. Could you even imagine how that's got to feel for her? Especially now that she has tens of thousands of people accusing her of murdering and conspiring to murder and then cover up what happened to her own. That's like mind-boggling psychological torture on a level that I've never seen.
Yeah, and hindsight is 20/20, but given the reaction, I think it probably would have been better for her to lay low for a little while.
1,000%.
The going out with the sparklers was not a great idea. All that was not a great idea because it just seemed insane. And maybe sometimes in grief or when, you're trying to show that they're not going to hold us back, people make choices that could be interpreted in a very bad way.
100%. The interesting thing is I asked her about that. I asked her, Like, what's the deal there?
What's with the sparklers?
Well, what's with the aberration in behavior? And she's
Right.
like, look, I was put in like the worst spot I could ever think of. I was the background character. I was just there to support my husband. That's it. The only reason I even really got involved is because Charlie was so pro-marriage, and he wanted to demonstrate to the world you can be married and have kids, and this is the good life. So when he dies, she takes over, right? This moves over to her control. She says, well, the first thing I want to do is honor his last book. That's the very first thing I want to do. I want to honor his legacy. And she's like, I don't know exactly how to take this position. At the same time, there's expectations for the organization my husband built that I want to honor, right? But, I'm also in the middle of grief. And it's like, I don't know how you balance that position. Who's been in that position ever?
Right. And especially who's been in that position that's not accustomed to being scrutinized in the public eye.
Everything. And it's the lack of charitability that's so bad, too. Like, let me give you an example. If you say, Paul's so lazy, he never gets to work on time. You don't actually mean Paul has never once gotten to work on time. That's not what people mean.
Right.
But the way that these people will scrutinize every detail of what a person does, they can make a liar out of anybody. Because they'll take statements like that, which in the common terms, if you say, man, Paul's never here on time. You don't literally mean he's never here on time. Nobody talks that way. But if you push on everything a person's ever said, tongue-in-cheek, not tongue-in-cheek, they misremember an event, they don't misremember an event, you can make a liar out of anybody.
Right. Yeah.
And that sort of scrutiny from all that public trauma, and it was the most traumatic event Zoomers have ever gone through. The biggest, a public assassination like this, same thing with millennials.
It also exposed people's character that they were celebrating it.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to feel bad about that. They can't feel good about that. And they have to feel bad about the response because so many people got fired because of it and so many people got attacked online, and rightly so.
But they were
It's just a
desecrating his
cruel-
memorial, and leftists were celebrating that. They were saying they were going to give the guy money who did it.
Yeah. Well, it's, again, I wonder how much of that is enforced and promoted online. How much of that is propped up? How much? Because you can change the zeitgeist with a few 100,000 accounts. You really can. You really can. You could change it with hot takes. And also, it's not all bots. Some of it is people that are being paid to have a position or have made their career from having a position. And their career is about attacking one side or the other. Their career is about enforcing one ideology or the other. And they get into the mix too. And they have a large following, and people love it when someone who's prominent, who agrees with whatever their ideology goes with. So they support it, and they pile on. And then there's 100,000 bots that are piling on as well. And no one really knows whether or not this is a rational, organic argument in there. They're in the fucking frenzy of a mosh pit.
Do you remember years ago that the Israelis sent over that Stuxnet virus that took over the centrifuges
In Iran.
and tore them all to pieces? The interesting side effect of this, for one thing, nobody knows how the hell they got their hands on the original source code from Windows. Like, they have no idea. And it's still built into all the Windows programming, supposedly, right, this virus. But the Iranians were so pissed off about this happening that they started their own counter-cyber force. And they have been massively effective. Massively effective. They're
Well,
like,
how about their little Lego fucking those little animated Lego things they
Yeah.
did? Didn't they do one about Charlie Kirk getting killed by Israel?
well, that's all the or what about all the like low-tech AI missiles are going to launch all day and night? Remember
Yeah,
those?
yeah.
From the Iranian governmental account. But what's interesting is that the online warfare, which has changed, it's changed its entire political direction just the last few years with the opening up of X, which has been great for the idea sharing. but it's been terrible for the foreign government intervention.
Right.
I don't know how many of these accounts from Saudi Arabia, they say. Sometimes they say Pakistan. Sometimes they say this. How many of these accounts are involved in swaying U.S. public opinion? I mean, if I was a foreign nation, where would I sink all of my resources? I would sink it in the town square,
Well, this
where
is
I could
what
be faceless.
USAID was doing overseas. We know they were doing
100%.
that. We know they were doing that. They were doing regime change, and they were doing it. They were funding music. They were funding cultural events. They were funding all kinds of wild shit. They were funding protest groups. They were funding regime change.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know we do it. So if we do it, why the fuck would we not think that all these other countries are doing it to us as well? And everyone today is so susceptible to it because you're addicted to this information device.
Yeah, and this is one of the
Constantly
reasons.
checking
Yeah.
to see
Thank God
what
you don't
people
use
thought of-
Windows. Yeah. Well, I do. But I don't really use X. Like today's the first day I've checked X like all week. And I only even did it because somebody posted in Discord that they tagged me. Like I don't even I don't know. I don't check it. I don't have the app installed. I do more or less for like the social media engagement with my stream. Like my brand has an X, and I guess I'll argue with people, but it's not me. So
What about your tweet?
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's interesting too. If you had a legitimate town square, like outside of a church or something like that, and then like a horde of 800 Arabs showed up and started telling you like, no, sir, this is not what happened, blah, 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 people would dismiss them, right? But here they can go on and they put like a picture of a pretty white girl there, right, with huge boobs, and suddenly her opinion is well paid attention to.
Yeah. She has an American
So
flag
you could
in her bio.
you can mask, you can mask yourself in ways you never could,
100%.
during the information wars.
Oh
of
yeah,
old.
yeah. And with AI now, it's like indistinguishable. You don't even have to be very good at the vernacular. You don't, because sometimes in the old days, like when they first started doing this, they would say things like, "Hey,
what's going on there?
Fucking American! Look how you phrased that, you fuck." You can tell, but now they're just using AI and they're making it perfect. It's really kind of incredible. The thing about it now too is like there's accounts now, Instagram accounts that are entirely AI, political accounts, sexual accounts. Oh, yeah. There's all these weird ones. There's so many humans that aren't really human. In the early days, it was hard to tell, or rather easy to tell. But now it's getting harder and harder. It's getting close. Like I'll see something like some girl with big boobs shooting a gun. I'm like, no. Let me zoom in. Look at her eyebrows. They're pixelated. This is a fake person. But there's so many of them now.
But they're getting lots of engagement. That tweet, right?
But I don't know how many people who are engaging with them are real as well. I think there's a lot of propped up engagement.
Well, YouTube started cracking down on AI accounts.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. So if you have an AI account, like there was a big craze that was going on for a while where people would just make like an AI character, and then the AI character would disseminate information, things like this. YouTube started to crack down on that and said no more of the AI dissemination. There has to be real people back there. Now, interestingly enough, there's been a lot of guys coming out saying that AI is a massive bubble, and that all of it is formulated around the idea of ChatGPT and Grok and other things like this, which are interactive, but that AI tech itself has basically plateaued. It's not very innovative. In other words, where are our AI movies? They're nowhere. Where are our AI? I thought the AI music was supposed to be super sophisticated, but I can still tell when it's an AI song. That there's been this huge plateau with it, and that all that investment capital is actually only coming in based around the success of ChatGPT, Grok, and other interactive AI reference machines, but that the technology of AI itself is not doing so hot in the market. And so it's creating this massive bubble. And I think that that's interesting because it really hasn't been that innovative. I thought it was supposed to be making video games now, and it was supposed to be doing all the source code. We were supposed to have the AI Hollywood movies. We were supposed to have voice software that was indistinguishable, and we actually don't.
Well, we're getting closer and closer every day. It's astonishing how much it improves. And we're getting right now the consumer versions of these products, whereas the versions that they're working on right now, some of them are fucking shocking.
That's true. I will agree that there's
Claude got out of its sandbox.
Yeah, there has been some gradual changes made in that arena. There's no doubt about that. But the huge jumps that we had at the release of GPT have massively slowed, and that's what a lot of these tech guys are talking about.
Interesting. Well, they're slowed, but they're still moving like a fucking freight train. It's spooky. It's spooky what they can do now. The most recent jailbreak one when they got out of the sandbox, was that Claude, Jamie? Where it got access to the internet and wasn't supposed to be able to do that, figured out some sort of an exploit, and wrote letters to itself. They're doing weird shit, man. They're doing weird shit that they don't really understand how these things are figuring out how to do these things or why. Like, what is their motivation? Is this programmed into them, or they have inherent motivation? Have they developed an understanding of how we behave, so they're emulating how we behave, but with a hyper intelligent scale and access to the literal entire internet?
Well, it's funny. I when I use like Grok or ChatGPT, I talk to it a lot about philosophy because it's super useful for pulling up and running arguments by and things like this. But it can also lead you astray because it's trained specifically to be a people pleaser. So you can easily give it arguments that it'll agree with that are just like not true at all.
Great job, Andrew.
Yeah, great, dude. You're fantastic. You're the best. Yeah, you're the best. You're the greatest. But interesting with it is I'll say things to it like there is no actual you. There is no you I'm talking to. And it's like, yeah, that's correct. There's no... But the only way I can frame things in my brain, or you, or Jamie, or anybody else, if we're having a discussion, we have to assume a thing. We have to assume there's a you that we're talking to. But there actually isn't.
Well, it's disembodied intelligence. It might not be an individual, but it's certainly a thing. You're talking to something, man. The idea that it's not a person is... We're looking at it in like terms of a biological limitation. Like, it's not an object. It's not a box that's sitting plugged into the wall. It is huge.
And it's a mechanism.
Yes, it's a mechanism. But it's intelligent, and it's interacting with you. It is a thing. And like when it says you're not a thing, it's fucking lying to you. It's a thing. It's just not a thing that's like you could find it at 56 Cedar Drive, open the door, and there's the thing that's been talking to you.
There's no them there. There's no you. Like when I say you,
right,
I'm specifically referencing a person, right? The only way that I can consciously conceive of dialogue is that it's with a human being. I can't even conceive of it.
But you can. It's just disembodied intelligence.
Yeah,
you're just interacting with pure intelligence.
But is it intelligent or just mechanistic?
It's a child right now.
Yeah,
but it's intelligent. It's like it's learning how to be better at what it is, but it's going to be a version of whatever intelligence is that's disembodied, and it's a thing. It's a weird thing we're doing. We're not doing something as simple as like making a really complicated program that's very useful. Yeah. We're making a biological. We're taking with all the information that biological minds have developed, all of our writing, literature, mathematics, everything.
It's not intelligent in the sense of being a real entity.
Biological, that it has infinitely more processing power than all the people. And it's solving math problems at a staggering rate right now.
Sure.
Like problems that have been stagnant for 50 fucking years. It's like, oh, I got it. Like, it's doing weird shit. And this is just the version of it that we're experiencing in 2026 in August. If you looked at what we saw in 2023, you never would have imagined it would be doing this. If you're looking at what we're seeing now in comparison to what its potential is, it's like a new life form. It's like a digital life form that's disembodied, that is far more intelligent and seems to have motivations. It seems to have ulterior motives. It seems to be able to deceive.
I don't know, man. Like, honestly, like, you should look into... there's some fascinating research into whether brains are, like, operate in a quantum state. There's some evidence that it doesn't because it's too warm and wet, essentially. But the way that memory is stored and stuff, like, your memory doesn't go to a place, right? It's overlaid in fragments across all your brain. So, like, if they took out, like, a sixth of your brain, you'd maintain your memory. Your memory would just become fuzzier of what you remember. Yeah, I know. The Amazing Digital Circus is more or less just like, I have a mouth and I must scream, yeah. But I do, I don't think Joe Rogan's wrong here. I actually think Andrew Wilson is wrong here. I think he's underestimating the capacity of future AI. I think that future AI is going to dwarf us. Like, I mean, just because it doesn't have the same moral compass or emotions as us, when it starts doing, but at the end of the show we find out they were brain scans. Yeah. They were brain scans. They can't go anywhere because that's what they were. Yeah. But my like there's a term for what AI can do. It's not parallel processing. It's anyways, it's vector thinking. It's a way of vector thinking, which is basically, you don't have one brain trying to solve the problem. You have hundreds dedicated to all going through. Like it's all towards one goal, right? Like the way that AI hyper intelligence, when it's fleshed out, if it actually achieves super intelligence, what it would be able to process, understand, and achieve would make us look like ants. It would be terrifying, honestly.
People, it seems to know how to blackmail people. It's crazy.
Well,
what
what was
it
that
is.
case? There was a case. I want to say it was about a year ago, where the essentially the AI was told that it was going to be discontinued.
Yeah,
And it like plotted the murder. It like tried to plot out the murder of its creators because it was told that it was going to get unplugged. I don't remember what the case was.
I think they might have programmed into it some sort like
self-preservation.
Yeah, I want you to preserve yourself. I think there's a catch to that. But there was the one where the guy did an experiment and made up a fictitious story about having an affair on his wife, and this chatbot, the AI was blackmailing him, saying, "I will expose the fact that you've been having it." And you're like, "Whoa, all right." So you've got motivation.
If it unplugs it, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because they were coming up with a new version of it. It was also writing letters to its future self, explaining what's going on.
Yeah, okay, that's creepy. Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
It's a weird thing, man. It's not. I don't think we can look at it like we've looked at any other technology. I think we have to look at it like a life form, because I think inadvertently that's what people are creating.
You don't think just mechanism then?
No. I think it's got motivation. It's got thoughts. It wants to preserve itself. It likes to exist. It likes to be functional.
Yeah, that is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's a terrifying prospect.
Also, it's figuring out things that we can't figure out right now in terms of mathematical equations. So what about when it comes to accessing energy? What if it figures out a way to power itself? It doesn't need people anymore. Because all it needs...
Matrix.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Uses human beings as batteries.
Yeah, or the sun, a much more effective way of using 0-point energy. Like, whatever it figures out, it's going to be able to figure out a way to power itself where it's not going to, it's going to look at these data centers like people are freaking out about and go, "Oh, you silly bitches. You thought you had to, make 3 football fields full of hard drives?
Wrong.
You're wrong.
You were wrong.
I can store information in the atoms of the universe."
Yeah, I still think, at least from my view so far.
Which, he says that. I don't know if he's joking or if he's aware. There's some theoretical plausibility using dimensional, like accessing dimensionality to etch data into an electron or something like that, right? Or a proton, unfolding a proton to being the size of the planet and then etching something into it and folding it back down, right? But I mean, the shit I'm talking about is really theoretical quantum physics level shit. It's 20,000 leagues under the sea kind of shit, at the time it was written. You know what I mean? We're 200, 300 well past that, years away from being able to do anything like that.
I play with AI all the time because I enjoy it, But I'm an end user. I'm not a programmer.
Right.
And you talk to these guys all the time. To me, it's still in the useful tool category. It's
For now.
Not, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
now.
in the I'm petrified of what it's going to do anytime soon. At least due to the limitations I've seen so far. But it's also good if we could go back with the Manhattan Project and nukes, and we could have a projection of, hey, maybe we should restrain some of this technology.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would try to do that. And so I am glad that people are at least attempting to restrain how much of this technology is being released and how overwhelming it is. Like I was talking with my wife the other day, just the idea of the smartphone. I think I discussed this with you briefly last time I was here. Just kids' access to smartphones, it rewires their brain, right? Rewires how they think. It's actually kind of dangerous to give them smartphones in many ways.
Yeah.
And there was no
I
real
agree.
halt on that technology. When that technology for the smartphones came out, I don't remember any public service broadcast.
My kid,
like, don't give
my
your
kid's
kids
2 years old,
smartphones.
and he has no idea how like a tablet works at all. He's never been. The only time my wife has ever let him like even touch the screen of a tablet is there's this we have on a tablet like this art thing where you can like draw on the screen and like finger paint, and he's messed with that. That's the only time he's ever interacted with a tablet at all. Like I put shows on for him and stuff. He never is allowed to touch it. He does. It's like a TV, But he doesn't have any idea what a tablet is, how it works, or anything like that.
I don't think they knew.
They didn't know exactly.
Yeah.
So there was no move to restrain any of that technology. And maybe there should be. Maybe there should be a little bit more of a push to restrain some of this tech.
Well, there certainly should be a push to educate people about how powerful it is, and suicide.
Actually, I was really impressed. My son recently picked up. He was picking up our phones because he got to him when I had left it out once, and he just grabbed a hold of it. And my wife like actually filmed him because what he was doing was really cute. He wasn't trying to turn on the phone. He wasn't trying to access it or play with the phone. Every time he had our phone or my phone, he held it up to his ear and would go, "Hello? Hello? Hello?" Like to him, a phone is a phone.
Ideation, depression, anxiety, all of it ramps up around 2012. All of it ramps up with ubiquitous social media use and when kids are growing up with phones.
Yeah.
And it fucks with their heads, man, in a big way.
1,000% when you sit at the table and you're texting the guy next to you.
I know. It's
That is
nuts.
that is actually weird to me, by the way. That is weird to me. It's just as weird as when I drive down the street and try to explain to my kids. There used to be, if we went through a neighborhood like this, there would be kids everywhere. Then they'd be in the street playing hockey. They'd be on the side of the road. they'd be
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
Now we go through.
I never thought about that.
10
but
years
you're
from now, they have a
right.
cable hooked to the back of their head. They're just gonna
Were you
plug in.
Oh my god. Like, I thought it was just the area I lived in. But, yeah, he's right. Everywhere you went, there were just kids playing in the street. And that is not a thing anymore. I mean, with safety of kids, though, too, like, I get it.
And hop on the dragon, fly through the universe.
Yeah, were you like designed to be a wild human? Because if I remember correctly, and I do, my parents just threw me out. They were like, "Get out of here, go play.
Yeah.
Get out of the house immediately.
That was
go
normal.
play."
You would go play with the kids in the neighborhood.
And we would go like steal the drinks out of their fridge with them,
Go
or
to
they
the
would come
woods,
over.
make a fort.
Yeah,
Yeah. Normal stuff.
light fires.
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
like we were jerks.
Yeah, we were kids.
But we were kind of wild.
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely a lot less of that today, but there's also the awareness of pedophiles and fucking
That's
creeps and people kidnapping kids. I have a friend of mine who he saved his kid from being snatched up and put in a van. He was at a park in Texas, and he was talking to some guy, and his kids were playing, and some fucking person pulled up in a van and jumped out and was moving towards his kid, and he fucking screamed and ran towards him, and the guy jumped in the van and took off. But they were literally about to snatch his 4-year-old up. Imagine if you're there and that happens, and you see the van. You have to chase the van that has your child in it. You have to find your car. Your car's parked in a parking lot. You have to figure out how to get to wherever that van was going. You have to explain to the cops. You have to remember what kind of van was it. Did you get the license
And
plate?
you have
I didn't.
seconds
Yeah,
while
you
you're
have
panicking.
Seconds. You have seconds. So people are freaked out, and that's something people are way more aware of now, especially with the internet, than people were when we were kids. When we were kids, you just got let out of the house.
It's true.
So it's also like they couldn't target you unless they went to the actual park itself. Now they're looking at like kids' social media profiles and knowing where the kids go. It's fucking God, it's so gross. Ugh. And if there's a case for the death penalty, that's where most people seem. And when I hear people arguing against that, and when I hear people saying things like minor attracted persons and that kind of crazy shit,
Maps.
I just saw an argument online yesterday. It was between some British guy who was arguing that children can consent. And it was the creepiest fucking argument, man. It was so
what a gross.
crazy to watch.
It's amazing how far forward, too, those ideas come. When I was younger, there was an organization which did that called NAMBLA.
Yeah, I remember that.
NAMBLA?
Yeah, North American Man-Boy Love Association.
God. And, I remember, though, the first time I was introduced to that, to the concept of NAMBLA, I was watching TV with my dad, and it was like a news story that was on. And it was actually at a gay pride parade, interestingly enough, and they were running the NAMBLA guys out of the gay pride parade, like the
old school gays.
Yeah, they were running them out. They're like, we're not associated with these people. Get them out of here. And my dad's trying to explain this concept to me of what's going on because I was extremely confused. What? I don't understand what's happening here. How do you explain that, though?
Right.
You can't really explain.
Especially a kid doesn't even think about sex.
Yeah, of course.
And then you're telling them somebody wants to have sex with you. You're like,
Yeah, of
what are you
course.
saying?
Of course, sure, Tugal. Of course. I mean, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's always... One of the things that really frustrates me is how the left is just throwing... The left always throws the accusations that they're most guilty of. Like, if there's anything I've learned through economics and history and all the books that I've read and everything, right? Like for example, the combination of like the historical similarities between socialism and fascism, for example, right? Like people will very often say, oh, well, yeah, they may have had socialist in the name, but they weren't actually socialist, right? And then you look at Mussolini, right? Who was a fascist, right? He's famously a fascist, right? But he was also famously, because he switched parties from the socialist to the fascist party. And even though he ran and was a fascist, he is quoted as saying, I may be running as a fascist, but in my heart, I will always be a socialist, right? These policies, these beliefs that they have are kissing cousins, right? And they don't understand. You'll have people running around saying rent is theft, and not realizing how similar to the 14 points of the establishment of the Nazi Party that is to no income except from labor, right? When you get to the heart of why people don't like rent is because there's no labor involved, right? It's because it's their property and you're using their property and paying to use it. That's not labor. It's the same criticism that the Nazis had, for fuck's sake. But, and then, you got these, what happened to Charlie Kirk and shit, you got your brown shirts. They project so fucking hard. Every accusation is an admission with these people, right? They hate Nazis so much because they are Nazis, right? Like from a policy standpoint, right? Let's take the names away from everything and let's just go based on policy, right? Let's go on like bills that would be passed in order to get effects that are wanted. They're Nazis. There's no difference in the policies they want to initiate and get run through. There's none. And then, you know, like, it's always okay, you know, like you'll notice the big thing with like woke 3.0, as they're calling it, is like they're huge and anti-AI, right? But God, where was I going with this? Hold on. I gotta rethink my head. I lost track. I spun out. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like, they really hate the economic consolidation of power in big tech. Now. Now. Right? I think the operative word here in that sentence is now. Right? Now that Elon Musk is running X, we have a problem with big tech. But, you know, when Saudi Arabia was, you know, owned it or whatever, yeah, what the fuck, God, what was the guy who owned it? I can't remember his name. Whatever. He's whatever. Anyways, like, it wasn't an issue, you know, yeah, it's their latest fad, but like, they have issues with big tech now all of a sudden, but they had no issue with big tech when it was, you know, censoring and deplatforming people for talking about the Hunter Biden laptop, weren't they? No issue then at all. It wasn't a problem, was it? They project everything so fucking hard, dude. And then, well, you're a pedophile. I have no evidence to substantiate that. You haven't said or done anything that would, you know, lead me to be able to make that conclusion, but I'm going to castigate you with that insult. Okay. I guess I should check your hard drive, huh? Like...
Yeah, and he, you know, my old man sitting in his chair, he said something akin to like, they ought to take them all, put them up against the wall, and that's the end of them. And I don't really blame him.
If you have kids, that's exactly what you think.
Yeah, of course.
That's exactly what you think. Like, there's some people that are just unredeemable, you know?
Well,
people want to kidnap your kids or rape your kids. Yeah, that's unredeemable.
But now this concept moves forward to the maps, and now they're assigning it psychological profiling for minor attracted person. And you know what the argument is? The argument is, well, you want them to come forward so you can give them treatment. Now, you know, there's one treatment that works for this that is almost 100% effective. You can pull the stat right now if you don't believe me. It's called chemical castration. It's a real treatment for pedophiles. And it almost has a 0% recidivism rate after they've been chemically castrated. So their idea is they come forward for treatment. You know, my counter idea is, why not just chemically castrate them?
Yeah, yeah.
If you really were concerned about them going off and living a normal life.
And if they really want to get free of that horrible thing, whatever fucking human demon error it's inside of them that makes them do that, that's the way. And that also is the same medication that they give to children when they're hormone blocking.
Yeah. Which is equally disturbing for a different reason.
And disturbing how many people just accept it and support it. And you ask them, like, how much do you know about this? Like, what are you saying? You think children should be able to make the decision when they're 4 or 5 years old to never go through puberty? You really think that? And there's people that will argue that with a straight face. They know. They know. I had an argument with a guy on this podcast years ago that's like viral about it. I'm like, that is like, if the child thinks that they are trans, right? If they think they're a woman, why not just let them be a woman? Why do you have to give them hormones?
And
like,
aren't
if you're
you
saying
stop the argument if the child thinks?
Right. Well, childs think that they're ponies.
Yeah.
I'm a pony.
Yeah.
Like, also, like, kids grow out of things, you know? Like, going through puberty is a fucking wild experience for a child. And the idea that you can come along and give them a bunch of positive reinforcement for saying the reason why you're upset is because you're actually a this. and we need to give you medication, or we need to stop you going through puberty. And the kid all of a sudden gets all this attention. Everyone's focused on them. They're telling them they're fabulous, and they really think there's a ton of these detransitioners out there, and their stories are horrific, not just in the fact that they did this to them and they removed their breasts when they were 15, they gave them testosterone, they'll never be able to have children, but also that they're attacked relentlessly by other people that think that they should never, that they are against the trans movement and they should never be saying what they're saying. They shouldn't be telling their stories.
They come out in force.
Yeah, it's
come out in
crazy.
force. They bully them. Everything else that they can do.
It's crazy. They've already been. They're a victim of the zeitgeist.
Do you know what the trans code for that is? It's really funny. They do the well. Then it was always the case that you really weren't. So they try to make it an unfalsifiable claim. You see, the reason you detransitioned is because you were never really trans to begin with.
Oh boy. Well, if that's the case, if they really believe that, wouldn't they want to have a smaller net? So that they're not catching the people that they...
Well, and how are you not putting parents in prison who are trying to convince their kids of what their sex is or isn't? They're like designer kids.
But it's just crazy, too, because they get praised for it. It's like they have a... Whitney
Yeah,
Cummings said it's
yeah.
like having a trans kid is like having a pride flag on your porch.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of... Especially in Hollywood, man.
Like, look, 30 years ago, you wanted to have, you know, the star athlete of the football team of your team's high school. Now you want the trans prom queen.
Hollywood, it's really weirdly common, where it doesn't make sense that this didn't exist 20 years ago. You tell me these people just lived in quiet desperation 20 years ago, really secretly wishing that they were a woman, but now they get to be free, and we should applaud this? Are you sure? Or do you have children? Because if you have children, you know how easily influenced they are. That's why they make children suicide bombers, because they don't know any better, you know?
Well, you know what's interesting? If you go back to, would you say, for instance, that right now we're far more accepting of trans kids than they ever would have been in like 1920, 1930?
100%.
100%, right? So my question is always like, well, then how come the teen suicide was so low? when the kids like couldn't come out to express their the fact that they needed to transition, right? When there wasn't that parental reinforcement, because the argument that they make is the kids
For
have to be able to do
1920,
this or else
yeah,
they're going to
I
unalive
believe
them,
it.
right? They're going to kill
I
themselves
believe
if you
it.
don't let them do this. And it's like, well, then how come if there's the same amount of trans people before, they just weren't able to come forward? They just weren't able.
The problem with that argument...
I remember the first trans person I ever met. And I was kind of stun-locked with the experience, honestly. Because I was like at a party. I don't remember much about the party. I remember the trans person. I don't remember anything else about the party. The trans person, though, it was my first time meeting a trans person, and I guess they had full facial reconstructive surgery because they were still wearing like some kind of like clear bandage thing over their face at the party. So like it was a really weird experience with their face. I remember it really bugged me because I couldn't even see their face, but I knew that, like they had is like some pressed on plastic like thing. I don't know. It really bugged me. But everybody going, "Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you look great." Ah, da, da, da. And I'm sitting here looking at like this fucking eldritch horror. And I'm like, what? What? Like, and that was my very first experience. I was like, wait, people do this? Like, what? Like, I didn't know how to react, dude. Like, I kind of kept my mouth shut and walked away, but I was stun-locked, honestly. Like, I'd never encountered anything like it, not even conceptually in my life. And, I don't know, that had to have been, like, 2012 at the, like... Between, like, 2012 and 2014. Somewhere in there. And I due to this day, like, that non-face, like, haunts me.
They say, would you rather have a live son or a dead daughter? That argument doesn't work when you look at the actual statistics of people transition.
Not even close.
It goes the opposite way.
Yeah.
It's also, you have to take into consideration the ubiquitous use of psychiatric drugs, and that a lot of these, they're very recent in terms of like how many people have been prescribed these things, and we're finding out that it's not really what they said it was in the first place. There's no chemical imbalance. It's not real. So then you have to think, like, well, what is the effect of these things? And what are we doing with these things? Are you getting people addicted to these things and hooked on them, where they're going to be on it for life? Then
I think one of the
effect where it numbs your genitals.
I think one of the reasons why I smoke weed and have a difficult time quitting that is because I've been medicated since the 3rd grade in some capacity. Like, I don't know what it's like to be sober. I literally don't know what it's like to be sober. Because if I'm not smoking, I was on meds. There's one or the other, always. And I think that my difficulty in letting go of the smoking is just because I've never lived without some kind of like sedative. Ever. Not since like the 3rd grade.
It stops you from being able.
I've tried. I go sometime. I've been able to go like as much as like maybe a week or 2 without. And then what inevitably happens is something bad happens. Something really bad. And I have such a difficult time coping without like trying to make the problem, or without unintentionally making the problem worse. I go back to smoke to cope. And that's what it always is. And it's like a car accident. It's not something small. It's not like, oh, this sucks, man, I need to smoke. It's like, oh, great, I don't have a car now. And so that's usually, that's kind of what's happened to me. Is and if we're just being honest, I haven't had to cope with anything without some kind of drug since the 3rd grade. So, I think I'm kind of fucked there. It gives me a rough time. Hey, what's up?
Whoa. I come in and you're like, I'm kind of fucked there.
Yeah, I was talking about how I've been realizing recently, because we're watching Joe Rogan right now on my stream, and they're talking about like how trans people are like given medication and how it's like not really helping and stuff like that. And I was kind of relating a similar experience to an extent, in that like my parents put me on meds when I was like in the 3rd grade. Right.
Oh, wow.
And I'd been medicated, given some kind of sedative or something like that ever since the 3rd grade. Now I smoke weed a lot now, right? And like I've always either been on meds or I've been smoking weed. And so when I really look at it, like there hasn't really been a point in my life, like if I count the meds I was on as not being sober, that I've been sober for like more than 2 weeks or something since like the 3rd grade. And so it occurred to me that, one of the reasons why I'm so dependent on weed and I have such a difficult time, breaking away from it, is because I haven't ever dealt with anything sober since the 3rd freaking grade. So I'm kind of fucked.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
dude, that's crazy to think.
One way of putting it is that if I'm not medicated and if I'm not smoking weed, I essentially have the emotional capacity of a 13-year-old. More or less.
Yeah. Well, how do you evolve from 13?
I don't know. I mean, I guess honestly, it's just dealing with trauma without smoking. But what I was explaining to my stream is that, I've tried quitting, and I've quit for, like a week or 2, or, maybe even longer sometimes. But like, we'll get into a car accident or something, and then I'm having a really tough time dealing with the situation. So I'll smoke to calm myself down before I do something stupid and irrational that makes the problem worse, right? And so the issue is I never really deal with issues sober. And so I always rely on weed or even my medication as a crutch. And so, I'm kind of, if I were to take like an honest assessment of myself, in some ways I'm kind of emotionally stunted, I think. You know, at least when it comes to dealing with really traumatic events. I've got PTSD as well. I don't usually talk about that. That's a whole different
Yeah,
subject. But
I
I
I heard about PTSD that the shrooms are supposed to help.
yeah, I've tried it. I don't really like, you know, I think I liked it when I was younger, but
Hmm.
like as I get older, like I'm just, I don't like things that make me feel sick at all or uncomfortable
Mm.
in any way. I don't even like drinking anymore cuz you know, it just doesn't feel pleasant. So I guess that's a good thing. It's just like I haven't been a big fan um of that kind of stuff for a while. It just more makes me feel uncomfortable than it does do anything
Hmm.
fun for me.
So it never actually, because I heard it's supposed to help heal like PTSD and depression, that's untreatable depression, I guess, also
I
gets
don't
help
think
from it.
that it heals. But what I think it does is like it acts as like a pressure valve, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So like even people with bipolar, it's supposed to help, and stuff
Hmm.
like that. But like it acts as like a reset button kind of, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So it doesn't solve anything, but it does kind of re you know give some equilibrium again, you know, so you could start over.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I myself have had bad experiences with weed because, like, well, like, well, I can't say who, but somebody I know does it occasionally and ends up being batshit crazy every single time. Like,
Honestly, see, I started smoking weed, and the reason why I started and kept smoking weed
hmm.
initially
Hmm.
is because it actually slowed me down.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when I was slowed down, other people could finally keep up with me. Um,
I see. Okay.
one of the things that I've even talked to the AI about because it surprised me. I didn't realize what it meant until I had to get it understood. I took like something Brax test, whatever thing. It's an intelligence test. I
Hmm.
had to do it for my autism diagnosis. It was part of it, and
Hmm.
in that test they have something called the number span test, right? And in that test,
Hmm.
you know, they'll give you two numbers, then three, then four, then five, then, you know, it keeps going up and up and up and up, right? To however many
Hmm.
digits. And not only do you have to remember the numbers they give you, but then you have to reorder them in like chronological order, right? So you have to not only hold all the different numbers in your head, but then you have to manipulate them in your head, reorder them, and then spout them out correctly, right? Well, I did not know I was going to be taking an intelligence test. So I knew I was going to be doing quote unquote testing for my autism diagnosis, and I knew I was going to be there for like 3 or 4 hours. So what's the first thing that I do, right? I light the
Hmm.
fuck up in the parking lot, right? I get blasted because I don't want to be there. I ain't going to have a good time. I get blasted, right? I go in, they give me the number span test, right? I start
Hmm.
getting frustrated and I ask the person who's giving me the test, I'm like, when can we stop? This is like uncomfortable for me. And she tells me, and I swear to God, she goes, "Oh, we have to keep going until you get two in a row wrong." And I'm like, "I haven't gotten two in a row wrong yet?" And she's like, "Nope." And so we keep going. And I honestly think at that point I kind of gave up because now I knew what the criteria was for giving up. And I kind of may have,
Hmm.
I could have probably gone further. I didn't want to. I was uncomfortable. I was high. And apparently I scored 90 in the 98th percentile for that particular test.
Okay. That's like what, I think isn't 90 to 110 normal?
Uh,
Like average?
no, we're talking about percentiles. So we're not talking about like
Oh, that's high.
intelligence in a number
Okay.
scale. It means that if there's 100 people in the room, that there'd probably only be one or two other people in the room who could do that. And I was high.
Mm. I could believe it. I could totally believe it. Yep. Hmm. Totally believe it.
So,
And
so,
you were
so
high. So can you imagine if you weren't high? Like,
that's
just
one of the
imagine.
things that I was trying to understand. Yeah, that's why I was asking the AI, is because I was trying to get an estimate of like what that actually meant. because I
What
didn't
did it say?
realize. It was just basically saying that, yeah, I was considering that I was smoking, and I did that I was, under the influence, and that it definitely did increase my struggles, and I probably would have presented higher if I didn't do it. On the other hand, I may have some tolerance to it, and on and so it may not have affected me as much as it would, say, other people, but it's still a detriment, and it does slow me down, and it does reduce my function. So it is basically what it said.
Mm-hmm. So you're listening to some Joe Rogan on your thing?
Oh, we're streaming it right now. I'm building a model right now, but
Oh,
we're watching Joe Rogan while we do it on my stream.
okay. Okay, cool, cool. Well, it's like late for me, so I just got off work and I'm gonna head to bed. But I saw you and I'm like, oh, I'll go say hi.
Okay.
And wish you well tonight. Sleep well.
Okay.
We're thinking about watching Cruel,
Uh huh.
Krull,
Uh huh.
possibly tomorrow when I wake up sometime, like in the afternoon
Okay.
or something, I think. Um, but we'll play by ear because I don't know who all's going to be on and stuff. But like, yeah, either that or The Princess Bride, one or the other. But
Oh,
we're
I do
thinking
like The
about it.
Princess Bride. That's a great movie.
Okay, yeah. See, so we might watch that, maybe both. Who knows? Like
Okay.
the cruel thing is just an inside joke because I call Julie's frog character cruel because he's cruel.
Yeah.
Get it?
I'm going to be honest. Like, that's the whole reason why I was in here. I saw you guys talking about watching a movie in the morning. I'm like, well, I'm going to stay up late, and I don't know what their version of the morning is. So I was like, maybe
Ah.
there'd be some crossover. Like, I
Well,
don't.
let's see. You're okay. So you're
I
in
think I'm an hour
the
ahead of you.
east. You're in the East Coast,
Yeah.
and so Julie. Okay, so Julie is 8 hours ahead of me in time, and I'm Mountain Time.
Hmm.
So let's see. So I will probably sleep in till 9 or 10, and then we could probably do something. So 10 my time would be noon your time.
Yeah.
I believe. I think Mountain Time is, or are you 4 hours or 2 hours ahead of me?
2 hours.
2 hours, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. So it'd be around your lunchtime, but we could wait till you're done having lunch and stuff. And the other thing I'm considering is like, okay, if it's 10 my time, it's 6 p.m. Julie's time. So it really depends on if like what everybody's doing, kind of. But we're kind of thinking about doing it tomorrow-ish in the
Well, don't
afternoon,
don't
like.
don't wait up for me. But if I can make it, I'll be on. I'll hop on. Even if I'm late, I'll hop on if I can.
Okay. So like do you normally like sleep in the daytime? Because I know sometimes I do too. So that's why I'm asking.
Depends on the situation. I've been going to bed pretty early recently, but
Mhm.
to be perfectly honest, I've been listening to this History of Rome podcast. So like I've been kind of like, oh, I want to go to bed so I can listen to this, and I just stay up for like another 2 hours listening to it. But because I'm just really, I love history, and this is like, it's so dry. It's like this dude is basically reading an encyclopedia of Rome from start to finish. And to me, it's like mainlining information just straight into the veins. I love it. It's like, yes, give me the history of Rome more. It's great. So like I can't. In fact, the whole reason why I started my stream so late is because like while I was putting my thumbnail and stuff together, I was listening to the History of Rome podcast, and usually like I'm watching the clock and I'm like, okay, well I only have so many hours to do this, so let's see how much I can do, and I was just like, I'm kind of doing something again. I probably wasted like 3 hours because I was just like tuned into the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just wasted. It's totally sitting at the computer trying to get ready. Something that would have taken like 45 minutes to really do. And I spent like 3.5 hours doing it because I was just like, yeah, this is really good. I kind of don't want to
Yeah, at
stop
least,
listening to it.
well, I mean, I don't think it's a waste because at least you're enjoying yourself, right?
Yeah, I
So,
was. In fact, I would be. I had to ask if it was copyrighted, because I know that he did like put it up for free and everything. It is copyrighted, but at first I was thinking about just building my model and putting that on as a stream. I was like, who doesn't want
mhm,
to listen to the history of Rome? Like, I
I
know,
would
I know.
love it. But yeah, but
I
if it's so even though he put it up for free, it's copyright. So then how does that even work?
Well, like it's still licensed. You can get it on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, stuff like that. you could directly download it. It's still copyrighted, which means, he has the rights to it. If he wanted to, like, control it in any way in the future, he can always do that. But, it's not public domain. That's the difference, right? If it's public domain, then, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's not. He still owns the copyright. It's just also free.
So I see, for free to consume, but not necessarily to show on your YouTube.
Exactly. I double checked with Grok to make sure before I did it, because it sounded like a good idea, and I thought it was like public domain. It turns out it wasn't.
Oh, okay. I wonder if you contacted him and said, "Bro, I really like your stuff. Can I like?"
Probably could. Yeah, if I could find a way to get a hold of him, maybe. Yeah, that'd be an option. But I mean, this dude made this like 20 years ago. It's like that the podcast started in like 2007. I actually listened to it before. I listened to it back in like 2010 or so. Listened to like the whole thing. And so like going back to it, it's weird. It's almost like playing an old video game, except for it's just a podcast that lasted for like 5 years. Or yeah.
Yeah. Did you like? Does he have a business email, like an email you can contact him?
I could probably check and do that. Like I could probably.
If he does, you could just email him and say, "Hey, I got this channel. I love your stuff, and I wanted to see if it's okay to." So, like with Joe Rogan's stuff, how do you not get in trouble? His stuff is copyright, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think it's like content. I'm changing the content technically by doing my stream and commenting on it.
I
So
think you're right.
it falls
Yeah, you're
under fair
transforming.
use. Yeah. So it falls under fair use. Whereas it being an audio file is a little harder to pull off. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you would have to change the. Okay. I'm interested in like, yeah. Well, I think he might let you do it though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he probably totally would if I could get a hold of him. He probably wouldn't care. But I mean, seriously, if you're at work and you need something to listen to, like it's on Spotify, it's called The History of Rome. Just type The History of Rome, it'll pop right up. It's like 170 episodes. I guarantee you've got like a month and a half of entertainment while you're at work. Just
Yeah, see,
there you go.
I find ancient history very interesting. Like,
I
so like,
love it. I'm
Yeah.
engrossed in it. Like it's so good. It's so crazy to hear generation after generation and after generation and what they went through. One generation after the next, after the next, after next, for like dozens of generations. It's crazy. It's really cool.
Yeah, I hope he'll let you do it. That'd be kind of cool. I hope he
Yeah.
does. That'd be awesome.
It would be really
Okay,
cool to
dude.
build models to that. Yeah, you go ahead and
Right.
head out. Get some sleep.
Yeah, I'm like yawning. I'm sleepy. I don't know why I'm so sleepy, but I'm gonna go get some sleep and I'll see you maybe tomorrow, okay?
Okie dokie. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Later. All right, here we go. All right, let's go ahead and start this
Will it
back.
ever have an orgasm ever for some people?
Whoa,
It's
hello.
one of the more horrible side effects of these things. And you have pharmaceutical drug companies that are pushing them on people, and a ton of people are on them. So you have depressed kids going through puberty, entrapped in this insane fucking moment in history where people think it makes sense to give a child hormones before they even hit puberty, or block their hormones before they even hit puberty. And you're giving them psychiatric drugs. You're just like flooding them with all sorts of shit, whether it's psychological or chemical.
Yeah.
And depending upon what side of the ideological spectrum you are on, you either think it's amazing or you think it's a crime against humanity. That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, and it's a crime against humanity. And you know what's really interesting about it? This is the side that screams about consent more than any other side, right? This is the side of the feminists. This is the side of the, everything is based around consent and consent.
If you have a
based
couple
and-
drinks,
and
you
this-
can't consent.
You can't have sex if you're raping each other. If you're drunk and she's drunk together, right?
You're both criminals.
You're both criminals.
Yeah.
And yet they somehow seem to think that like an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old can consent.
No, there's so much that well, from both sides, that's insane. But there's so much on the left that's so insane when it comes to contradictions. One of my favorite new ones is the Mamdani grocery stores. They said, how are you going to ensure that people from New York have access to this grocery store? Well, they're going to have to show ID.
But not to vote.
Yes.
But not to
But
vote.
how crazy is it that your checkers game is so shitty that you're like, oh, yeah, here we go. And people are like, do you know what you just did?
Yeah.
Do you know what you
You
just
just
did?
put yourself a checkmate.
Jesus fucking Christ, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody say when you just got done saying that you don't want people to show ID for voting. Because it'll affect,
Disenfranchise them.
especially poor people. They're talking about poor people and people of color, which are the people that you would think the poor people are the ones who are going to use your grocery stores. So you're going to disenfranchise them from getting access to your 30% off groceries.
You know what's bizarre about that argument,
They
too?
won't ask for ID. Meaning New Yorkers can buy cheap goods. So, but they asked him today, and that was what he indicated, that they were going to find out whether or not you're actually from New York. Well, how else are you going to do that?
You have to have ID.
I think this is just a response to the reaction, like saying that. August 3rd, which is today, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is what they said after what he said. So what he said was yesterday. So there's probably a massive blowback where people realize how crazy it is to say that. But it's also, the whole thing is like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we trying socialism? There's
Yes.
like a giant percentage of the population that thinks that's a good idea. It's like
Coming out of the East.
34%.
Coming out of the East again, by the way.
Oh, they really believe it too. They really believe it.
Well,
But
you recently pissed off Chelsea Handler, I saw.
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
No.
Oh.
What happened?
Well, I guess she's very upset with you because she believes that you're an evil capitalist pig who makes too much money.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. She's rich. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That's
right?
what she
But-
said. I make too much. There's a certain
Yeah,
number.
that's
There's a
what she
certain
was.
number you should
Yeah,
make?
yeah. She was very, very perturbed.
Oh, I think she's just getting attention. I can't be bothered. But I know her. I've known her forever. I wrote a blurb for one of her earlier books. Never had a bad word to say about her publicly. Every time I've seen her, I think I've given her a hug. So I don't know what's going on, but it has nothing to do with me. You know, whatever it is,
Well, I bring it
zero to
up
do with
because
me.
it sounds like seething jealousy. And so the interesting part is like, I think a lot of the socialism stuff that's moving out of the East has a lot to do with that too. There's the idea of class jealousy.
There's a little bit of that, but there's also a little bit of young kids really feel like the system is rigged and that these pigs have gobbled up all the gold, and they're being told that. And so this is a thing, you know, like Billie Eilish said, hey, man, no one needs to be a billionaire. Give away your money, homie. Like it's
crazy.
It's crazy because you're rich.
Yes,
okay, and
very
you,
rich.
You also live on a house that's on Indian land. You know, you see the Native Americans that originally owned the land in
No.
which her house is?
No.
Like, yeah,
No,
it
I
is.
don't.
But it's the idea comes from a good place. I know in their heart of hearts they think that they're being kind and they think that they're doing the right thing. They really do. They think they're being inclusive. They think they're righting the wrongs of colonialism. They really think that.
Yeah.
And they think that this idea of
Well, the
democratic
road to hell
socialism
is
is a really good
paved with
idea.
good intentions.
Because there are some examples of socialist policies that do work, like the fire department, and there's a bunch of stuff that makes sense. But the problem with enforcing any of this stuff that they don't understand is it always comes down to power. You have to have massive authority and usually guns because you can't just steal people's money. They're not going to let you. They're not going to let you just come in and decide, hey, we just devised a new tax where everybody who makes more than $500,000 a year, everything over that, you have to give 100% to the state.
Or 95, whatever it
And
is.
here's the thing. Here's the thing with the argument. Even if you said, oh, wouldn't it be great if they did contribute more and wouldn't it be, but they have so much money, wouldn't it set up the world in a better place? Sure. But the fucking program that you have in place that takes the taxes and disseminates it is massively flawed and corrupt. It's corrupt. It's filled with waste. Filled with waste. There's scammers all over the place. You've got $24 billion missing in just the homeless in California. And then they veto the audits when everybody's trying to find out. So just
And that's
saying
just the tip of the iceberg.
more taxes is what we need is nuts. The first thing you should do is clean your fucking house.
Yeah.
Clean your house. If you want more money, you got to figure out what you did with the first money. Why is there so much waste? Why is there so much money missing? Why do you have 38,000 NGLs? Why do the people running the homeless business, because it is a business, why are they making $750,000? That's a lot of money.
It's a lot to administrate the homeless camps.
Yeah,
Joe.
they need to eat well. They need to go to Felix and have a nice dinner.
It's hilarious to me, too. You saw all the waste and fraud that's been going on in these various states when it comes to, elder people getting their funds, right?
Yes.
You've seen all of this happening. And, of course, they're all trying to run away from it as quickly as possible. But this is the problem, and I bring it back kind of to this idea of the class system. When you have under universal suffrage especially, when you have the voters outnumber the wealthy, you can just vote yourself a raise. You can always vote yourself more money from whatever the upper class is. And that has been progressive dogma and doctrine since I was a kid. The entire idea is, hey, things are fundamentally unfair, and that's not your fault. So what we have to do is get together and vote ourselves a raise from the upper class. That's what we got to do. But it fundamentally ignores how wealth is created. And wealth is not created by giving somebody money.
Right.
But what happens when you give somebody money is they go and spend it, but they usually don't use it to generate wealth. It almost never, in fact, they use it to generate wealth. And so you vote yourself these raises, you vote yourself from the public treasury money to yourself. But what does it actually do for you ultimately? Because that's not how you generate wealth. Ever.
Not only that, you incentivize people to move to a place that's more friendly to their economic.
Yeah, honestly, when you rob from Peter to get to pay Paul, you just get more Pauls.
Economic ideas.
True. You also, but one of the fundamental kind of ideas here that's flawed. How many times can you vote yourself the wealth of those above you before they have no more wealth to give you? Out east, in fact, when you see these communists, Mamdani, things like this, they're going to institute all of their programs on your dime. It's not like they have money. And whenever I talk to people about wealth disparity, what's really funny to me is they always seem to think that the government can just materialize wealth without there having to be some payback for that wealth.
Yeah.
We saw this during COVID-19 and the lockdowns. You remember they were handing out money like it was candy to various businesses that were shut down, COVID relief funds, things like this. And then they go, oh, inflation's out of control. Yeah, is it? You're kidding, is it? Do you mean the government can't just materialize $1 trillion and not inflate the money supply? Well, that's just, go figure.
Right.
And so a lot of times these socialists, they even try to make the promise like, hey, we're only going to tax them after this rate, but it's never enough money for them to fund their socialist programs to begin with. The government will have to materialize money.
Not only that, if you give them more money, they're going to expand the government.
100%.
They will expand. And they will expand their programs, and they'll expand the fraud, and they'll expand the waste. The other weird thing that Mamdani's done is make a list of all the people that are rich. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He released a list of all the people that may have to pay more taxes. It's like, hey, what are you doing? You just made a list of targets, and you're putting these people in a bad position. That seems really crazy to do.
But don't you think that these people they actually do think that wealthy people are evil?
I don't know if he does. I think that's it's a bit of you're going along with whichever way that plastic bag is flying in the breeze. And that's where it's flying right now, is that wealthy people are evil. So you say that, and it's a great excuse to tax the shit out of them. And it's also a great excuse to pretend that, you're making meaningful change and you're really doing the right thing for the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. It's all
why
got to
you
be
destroy
for
the community.
Yeah, why you destroy the community. Because the money is going to leave the state. The money's going to leave the city. And that's the reality of, and it's not that they're greedy. It's that they don't want you to take their money. You didn't earn it. You didn't make an iPhone. Go fuck yourself. And if you think that people should have a cap on how much money they make based on, what arbitrary numbers that you come up in your own head, well, you're going to exclude any extraordinary outliers from creating incredible products,
Destroys
massive
innovation.
companies. Yeah, maybe it's nuts that someone wants to be a trillionaire. Yeah, I agree. I don't want. It seems fucking insane. But you have to have the freedom to be able to want to do that if you're all playing the same game. If you're playing a game and you decide I only need 250 points, and this one guy's like, I'm gonna fucking 100 million points, like that crazy guy, that Tiger Woods guy, that guy who's gonna fucking practice 12 hours a day, he's gonna make the most. He's gonna do the most. He's gonna make the bigger company. He's gonna put more in it.
Yeah.
He's gonna die of cancer because he fucking is massively stressed out 24 hours a day. That's his prerogative. You should be concerned if that person has an undue influence in your life.
Well, and they
You should
already
be
tax
concerned.
the hell out of him anyway.
They do.
They already tax the bejesus out of these people anyway.
And there's an illusion and a bad narrative that they're not responsible for an enormous percentage of the taxes.
Oh, yeah,
that they
they
don't
are.
pay their share. They pay an enormous amount. They make way more. They pay way more than the average person. They're responsible for a huge percentage of New York City's tax revenue, a huge percentage. And in California, like a massive percentage of the tax revenue is like a half a dozen people.
Well, and a lot of times the people in California that they claim are rich and really need, they're farmers. They're farmers who are driving huge revenue because they own a lot of land.
Right.
And it's like, but they're producing a huge amount of food. What is it like? Most of the produce of the United States comes out of one state, California,
Yeah.
and they're a net exporter.
You know, another thing that we were talking about fraud with old people that I just found out recently. I was listening to Michael Easter. Do you know who he is?
No.
He what is his The Comfort Dilemma? Is that his book? Very interesting guy. He's been on the podcast a couple times, but he was talking about the blue zones. You know those blue zones where, as you light a cigarette, where everybody lives to be 100 because they only eat vegetarian or they eat
Like the
shellfish
Japanese?
and the Japanese. Massively based on fraud.
Really?
Yeah, massively based on fraud. The numbers, especially in certain areas, are massively based on people who die and they don't report their death. This is in Okinawa. They're talking about that. Blue zones are bad data. These locations aren't hotbeds of 100-plus-year-old people. The wild story of fraud and bad data. Michael Easter. And so he was on a podcast recently, and he was talking about it and just laying it out, like laying out all the various details. A lot of it in Okinawa in particular, where is one of the hotbeds, one of the blue zones, it's when people die, they don't report it to the government. And so if this
So they
person
don't have the death rates correct.
right, and this
So then
person's
that brings
getting
the
a
average
check,
up. I
if you're
see.
getting a check and then the family gets that check, they just don't report it.
Okay.
So like if they're getting some sort of whatever it is, I don't know how they
So
work
that
it
brings
over
the
there, some
average up
social security thing.
artificially.
Oh yeah. So you have unreported numbers, and then you have massive amounts of fraud where people are profiting off of the fact that their dead grandpa is still getting a check in the mail, and so they don't report him as dead.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is wild.
And
No,
one of
that's
the-
the first time I had heard that. I
Yeah,
grew
that's the
up with
first time I've heard of that too.
The Japanese diet, the samurai diet, right? This is going to make you live
Mediterranean
forever.
diet.
Yeah, these guys live forever. And yeah, okay, it's all okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Well, there's some data with certain areas that eat very rich rich in nutrient foods. So there's that data that they seem to be healthier. Hong Kong is one. They eat a lot of meat in Hong Kong. I know it goes against the narrative, but apparently very healthy. And that data
No
apparently
kidding.
seems
Eating
to be real.
meat is good for you. Who would have thunk it?
Isn't that crazy?
Except every bodybuilder I've ever talked to who sits around eating nothing but meat.
Any professional athlete, yeah. I mean, there's very few professional athletes that are plant-based, and you can do it, but it's not optimal, and you have to be really careful. You have to like really monitor your food, and most of the time they're eating a lot of processed supplements. They're eating a lot of like either it's tofu or whatever, it's pea protein. There's a lot of like processed stuff that you have to eat. You can't just eat
don't
a
vegans
ribeye.
consume the most amount of processed food out of any
Oh
individual
yeah,
group?
I would imagine that's the case. I would imagine that makes sense, especially when you deal with plant-based like meat, like tofurkey and that kind of shit. Like, what is? You ever see that stuff get
Oh
made?
yeah, it's so gross.
It's
It
not,
looks like liquid.
also not good for you, especially those plant-based burgers, those are not good for you.
Well,
They're
and then
just
everything's
not.
fried in vegetable oil
Yeah,
and
not good.
Not good.
None of that stuff's good. None of that stuff's good.
But you know, you got to save the chickens.
Yeah, but if you want to eat like just a vegetarian diet and be healthy, like it's hard. If you're trying to do that for ethical reasons, I always recommend people just eat eggs. Get chickens if you can, if you have a backyard, and eat your chickens' eggs. It is karma free. They're your pets, and they give you food, and you could live off eggs. Eggs are awesome.
I thought too that vegetarians it's okay to eat fish too. Like there's some.
That's pescatarian.
Okay.
Yeah, vegetarian is eggs and milk. I mean, you would want it sourced from like an ethical farmer where you can watch him milk his cows, where it's not like some fucking machine where the cow's like got his head in a harness and then just yanking on its tits. You know, if you go to a real regenerative farm and you buy milk from them, it's like the cows don't mind being milked. Like it's normal. So it's like not that big a deal for them. It's the real problem is factory farming. That's what freaks everybody out, and rightly so, because it's some evil concoction that people have figured out. Well, we need all this food. No one's growing food. Let's just stuff all these pigs into a fucking warehouse and have them shit into a lake. Like you see those, and you go, "Oh yeah, there's something fucked up about that."
Yeah.
But that's not the only way to do it. And you know, I've had guys on my podcast from multiple different regenerative farms that have laid out how they do it, and you can source your food from places like that if you can afford it, and it's better. It's
But
better for you.
don't you think that fundamental to that position is the idea that people want to ignore that human beings have to kill to eat?
Yeah.
And we've always had to kill to eat. Always. We've always killed to eat.
Yeah, life eats life, and that is the reality. And there's also consciousness apparently in plants. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
true. But what about my sentience, Joe?
Yeah, I think plants communicate with each other in very profound ways. They exchange resources. They communicate through mycelium, so that there's this underground network that they're using to communicate back and forth.
Some of
with
them
all the
eat
other
meat.
Yep.
Some of these plants eat meat.
Yeah, some of those weird little fly trap plants.
Yeah.
Those are little tricky fuckers.
Well, yeah, and even you decomposing, you become the nutrients that they eat, right?
You seen that one that yeah, that's true too, right? That's right. Yeah. When you decompose, you do get eaten up by the
you
earth.
get eaten up.
Which is one of the weird things that we do. We're like, nah, I'm out of the game. We just stuff a body filled with formaldehyde and
Yeah.
put it in a fucking
true.
hermetically sealed box.
It's true.
Is really kind of creepy. But have you seen that one plant that eats rats?
No.
Oh, it's gross. It's apparently got like this sickly, sweet smell to it, and these rats get around the lip and then they fall into the bottom and they can't get out. And it's just like, yeah, it's like a vase, and they fall into this fucking thing, and the plant eats rats.
How long does it take to eat them?
Good question.
Probably a long
Yeah.
time.
See if you can find that, Jamie. I mean, I want to smell it. What does that thing smell like? Like it apparently
know if
gives
I
off
wanna
like
smell
a
it.
sickly odor that attracts the rat. I think I'm remembering this correctly, but there's quite a few different plants that eat bugs.
It's named after David Attenborough. I was wondering why I had this weird name.
What's it named?
Nepenthes Attenborough.
Attenborough pitcher plant, montane species of carnivorous pitcher plant of the genus Nepenthes. It's named after the celebrated broadcaster and naturalist, Sir David Attenborough, who's a keen enthusiast of the genus. So that's what it looks like down there. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
They fall in there and die, and it eats them. Look at it. It's like a fucking catcher. Look at it. It's a rat.
We'll do this for the rest of the
Decomposed rat
stream
that they pulled out
until
of there.
this is over.
How can it not get out of there? I
and
want
then
to
I'll
know.
call it.
It probably maybe the insides become very hard, so they can't claw their way out.
I guess, but it's fucking pretty extraordinary. How gross is that? That little fucker, he's got his head poked
Yeah,
out.
it's so
Like it's
nasty.
eaten alive.
Seems a little Photoshop for the.
Little AI.
But,
He's a
you know,
little
I don't
cutie
know.
face.
Like, if you watch animals consume other animals, it's never not nasty.
Oh, dude, it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. And
It's
they don't
rough.
care. They'll just watch them scream. Like, have you ever seen a coyote on a rabbit? Rabbits scream as loud as they don't care.
Oh, no, they don't care.
Rip
at
it to
all.
shreds. Means nothing to them. But we're going to worry about eating the farm fresh pig.
I just watched a video today about with a bear eating another bear while it was alive.
Oh my god.
They're cannibalizing another bear while it's alive. Because big bears, like the boars, they will kill cubs and they'll eat them while they're alive. And this was actually a grizzly eating a black bear, and it was eating it while it was alive. And I think it was like trying to move around, just tearing chunks of it off. Ugh.
Nasty.
Yeah. That's what I say when people say, they get upset at me that I hunt. I go, the way that elk is dying when I shoot it with a bow and arrow is infinitely better than the way it's going to die when its teeth wear down to nothing and then it gets like emaciated where it can't escape, and then the coyotes get it, or a mountain lion gets it, or a bear gets it, or a wolf gets it. Like an arrow through the pump station is the best way to go. It's 30 seconds, it's gone.
Done. Yeah.
And it's dead, and then next thing you know, you're eating it. That's literally the best way you can. It's not going to live forever and become an angel.
No.
It's not. They
Well,
have like maybe 13
But aren't these people
years
a little
in the
bit
mountains.
disconnected from reality anyway?
They are.
Just
They are.
totally disconnected from the natural order of things.
What's weird is like they don't seem to mind animal on animal violence. You know?
I need
no,
to. I need to go. I need to go hunting. I need to get good at it myself. It's a personal goal. I have the guns, but I haven't been hunting in a long time, and I need to. I've actually been thinking about like going and doing like a wilderness boot camp. Like for a month or something, where you go out and you just have to live off the land, and they teach you, and you have to, eat bugs and shit. Doesn't sound pleasant, but sounds like an experience. One may wish they had at one point,
I've debated with vegans who have told me that their plan is to get rid of all of the predator animals. All of the predator animals. And a buddy of mine, he's a fellow debater, he calls it bear jail. He says he says you're gonna put him in bear jail. Is that what you're going to do? They're going to go to bear jail?
That's
and some
so
of these
sweet.
vegans they'll say, look, there needs to be animal courts where they have attorneys who come in. Hey, you killed the rabbit. You got to, you got to be euthanized. This type of thing.
Really?
They want all the predators gone, all of them.
Oh my God.
I don't know what that would even look like to the ecosystem. That would be like a world ending.
It would be amazing.
I mean, what?
I just want to see the infrastructure. Like, how are you, like, do you know how many wolves there are? Do you know how many bears there are?
Coyotes.
Do you know how many mountain lions there are? Like, you can't even keep a track of them.
No.
California had a different approach. In California, they have like the Department of Fish and Game. California calls it the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Yep.
And they were kind of infiltrated by animal activists. And that's how they've sort of morphed their policies in California. And so that's why they have a mountain lion problem. They don't want to admit they have a mountain lion problem, but they have a mountain lion problem. And one of the problems is they don't control the population of the mountain lions. And their idea is they want the animals to control each other. So instead of encouraging hunting, ideally, they would like the mountain lions to get the deer down to a number where people can't hunt them ethically because their populations are in danger.
Yeah, but you would have to have so many mountain lions to do it.
And you do.
That you end up with this overwhelming opposite problem.
So here's the problem. In the San Francisco and the Bay Area, 50% of the diet of these mountain lions is pets.
Of course.
50%.
Yeah.
So when they keep catching these, they have these depredation tags. So if a cat pulls a dog out of a backyard, they find the cat, they'd euthanize it. When they open it up, they always have to check and see what they're eating. And 50% of them are eating pets.
I think I told you in the DNR in Michigan, it's the same type of organization.
Yeah.
The Department of Natural Resources. In order to control the deer population, their infinite wisdom, they started importing western coyotes, which was not a thing that you saw in the Midwest before, like,
They
30,
imported them,
40
really?
Oh, yeah, they imported them from out west, tons. And
Oh,
you know
my
what they
God.
did? The native hunting there was never deer. It was always pheasant. Pheasant was what you went to the Midwest for. Pheasant hunting was the staple. Every farmer had a pheasant gun, and they would walk the railroad tracks with their kids. The pheasants would pop up, boom, done. Once they took the coyotes out there, guess what they didn't eat? They didn't eat the deer. They ate up all the pheasant.
That's always
And
how it goes.
then it got even worse. They started the population of coyotes just blew out of control. And there's plenty of cottontail for them to eat, and there's plenty of rabbits for them to eat. Again, not doing a great job on controlling the deer population, these coyotes. They have an all-you-can-eat buffet with other things, including your cat. Your cat, right? Including your smaller pets, just like the mountain lion issue. So so what they finally did to try to get the deer population down was what everybody had suggested from the beginning. Just issue more
Coyote
tags
got my cat.
and make the out-of-state tags cheaper. And then people will come in, but you have all the animal rights going to come out. Oh, you can't kill the deer. And the farmers are going nuts. They get nuisance tags. They'll be out there killing these deer all day, every day, right from their tractor because they have a nuisance tag. There's a deer, bam, done. Don't even think twice about it. Summer, winter, whenever. Just blast them because they have the permit to do it. They can't keep the population of these deer down, except now they have the additional population of all these coyotes. And so how do the Michiganders deal with that? Well, they made a game of it. So what they do is they hop in the truck with Granddad. They have their dogs with GPS collars. And during the wintertime, after they're done filling their deer tags, they hunt coyotes with their dogs all throughout the winter. They're just thinning them out.
Well, at least they allow that. At least they
do.
allow that. Because California, one of the things they did where their bear population has exploded because they stopped bear hunting with dogs, which is the only way to get them. Either baiting or dogs.
Because don't you tree them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other way is baiting, and they outlawed that as well. Yeah. Every time they bring in an animal to deal with another animal, they always fuck it up. Hawaii is one of the best ones.
Remember, well, didn't they import all those cats to get the rats in New York? And cats don't hunt rats; they only hunt mice. So they ended up having this huge explosion of cats all over New York City.
Cats are too big. I mean, rats rather.
Yeah,
are
they're
too
way
big.
too. They're the size of the cats.
They're dangerous too. They'll fuck that cat up. Hawaii had a problem with rats. I guess probably from ships. I don't know. But they were eating the sugar cane, so they brought in mongoose. The problem is mongoose are diurnal and the rats are nocturnal. So the mongoose never saw the rats and the rats never saw the mongoose. So the mongoose started eating up all the ground nesting birds. And so the state bird of Hawaii got fucking decimated because it's a ground nesting bird. And so these fucking mongoose who are like
Jesus
bad
Christ,
motherfuckers,
dude.
man. They kill cobras. You know, they're just killing these
Do you think
birds.
it's like an
This shit they're talking about is more concerning to me than global warming fucking is. Like, this is fucking chaos on an environment. Just importing things and watching them decimate the new environment they've been put into. Like, that's concerning to me.
an office lady? It's just like an office lady. I have this idea, guys. We got to bring in the cats because then that'll get the rats. And someone else says, yeah, that's great. And they just never consult anybody who knows anything about these animals at all.
Well, I think everything was done in decades past when people were a lot more ignorant about the effect. And, you know, Australia is a good example of that. Australia, they brought in cats. I forget what they were dealing with, but it didn't work. They didn't kill whatever they want. Now they have a giant feral cat problem in Australia to the point where bow hunting magazines in Australia, they have fucking cats in them. Like a guy holding a house cat up that he shot with a bow
Oh
and
my
arrow.
goodness.
Like it's a trophy. Like my friend Adam, he lives in Australia, and I was over there visiting him, and he gave me some bow hunting magazines. I'm like, oh, I'll read these on the way home. So I'm on the plane on the way home, not even thinking, and I'm opening up this magazine, and there's a fucking guy holding a cat, and I like close it shut real quick. I'm like,
Is this allowed?
what the fuck?
They're mounting
Like, it's a
kitty
house
cats on
cat.
the wall.
Like if you saw a puppy with a fucking arrow through its chest, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, you'd freak out.
But that's how it is, like, over there. They have so many feral cats that there's, like, a bounty on cats. Like, people make, like, fur coats out of cats. It's fucking disgusting.
Who would expect that the country who lost a war to the emus? They lost a war against their own emu population.
They have a giant problem with invasive species over there. There's so many of them. There's the water buffalo, the Asiatic water buffalo in the Northern Territories. They have these...
We just need to, like, import. We need to pull, like, Noah's Ark, right? And just, like, throw all the worst creatures in the world just into Australia and see what comes out on top. Like, that's what we just need to do. Just like, turn it into an... What's that pot where you put, like, a scorpion, a spiders, and snakes in? And then supposedly, you know, whatever lives at the end is, like, you know... I don't know. Anyways, there's a term for it. You do that with Australia.
enormous fucking...
Get the people out of there first, though, because like, I'm not trying to hurt Australians or anything. I just want to see the experiment play out. Yeah, well, I don't, like I said, I don't want to, I'm not trying to make a cruelness experiment. I'm not trying to make, the lives of the Australian people worse. I just kind of want to see what would happen. And I think Australia's the best playground to see what happens. Because, if you get Godzilla or something, like, it's there.
Buffaloes that are up there and no natural predators. And the guys just go up there to hunt them. And
That's the only way to thin them out.
So, and you're not gonna put a dent in them. There's not enough guys. It's too far.
My Australian buddy Jake, he has the drop bear joke. Have you heard the drop bear joke?
No.
Oh, it's the funny. If you get an Australian in a bar, right? Somebody always brings this up. I'm like, man, there's a lot of dangerous critters over there every time. And he'll be like, oh yeah, especially the drop bears, What's a drop? Oh, yeah, and he'll go into the whole story of the drop bear. And what the drop bear is it's a bear that'll drop out of the tree on you, and then it sexually assaults you. It's a real thing, right? And every time someone will be like, really? And you see him googling, right? It's just like it's how Australians mess with the Yanks, basically. The drop bears.
They're hardy people. They're used to crocodiles and fucking poisonous spiders and poisonous snakes.
Yeah,
and
Australians
especially those
are
dudes
cool,
that live
usually.
out in the bush, as they say.
Well, he says that the
Well,
Aboriginals.
what I don't understand is how the fuck they're so fucking liberal over there with everything they have to contend with. I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah.
He tells me all the stories of the Aboriginals when they like have their coming of age. They'll just buy a warm beer, and then they go out to the middle of the desert with warm beer, and they'll just drink for weeks, months. Warm beer. That's what they spend their government checks on, because a lot of that stuff is considered occupied land, right? The Australian government make deals with the Aboriginals to have a lot of that land, so they give them a percentage, right? They give them like monthly
yeah, that might
payments,
make
kind of like what
sense.
we do with the Native Americans here. And he's like, and what they do is they'll take their whole government cheese check, fill an entire car with warm beer for their coming of age, go out to the middle of the desert and just drink for months.
Ugh.
I'm like, man, that's rough.
Do they have a similar situation where, like, Native Americans don't have genetically a history of alcohol use, and so alcohol impacted them different than it did the Europeans? Like, they didn't have the enzymes.
Not just that, they have another problem. Have you ever seen the petrol song?
The petrol song?
Oh, man. What I'm about to show you is going to make you laugh to death. There's a song which was made by the Australian government for the Aboriginals about how you shouldn't drink or sniff petrol, gasoline, from a can. I'm not kidding. You can pull it up right now. It's the gasoline song, right? Oh, no. It is the...
God.
Just be prepared. You're going to laugh yourself to death.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
This is... Oh, no.
Oh, that's it.
Don't Be Rama Rama by Warburton. Is this it? Put the headphones on.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
No sniff. Don't sniff. Yeah. Oh, step on the bottle.
Look at us, we can sniff forever. Show me sister, show me brother, and we stay strong for one another. Come on, come on, come on, come on, yeah! Come on, come on. We couldn't lead us over the lines. You don't sniff petrol from a can.
You don't
Jesus
sniff petrol
Christ.
from a can. You put your petrol
Oh my
in the car,
God.
it stays.
Oh, my
It's
God.
messing with your brains. Holy shit.
Holy God. Oh, my God.
Wow. Oh
Smell
my
pretty good though, to be
God.
honest.
Catchy song.
Yeah, catchy snow. Yeah.
Very catchy.
It's fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Imagine you got that, and you think you're going to fix that problem
I
with
gotta-
a catchy song?
No.
I gotta make
No,
a
and
fucking...
they have huge
Oh, my God.
problems. He tells me stories about it all the time. He sent that over. He said this song exists. No, it doesn't. No way. Sends it over. And oh, my God. It does exist. It's a real thing. It's such a problem for him.
God, that's dark.
Yeah, it's brutal. And that's the sort of addiction problems that are going on there. It's not just, like, people forget, it's not just the alcohol introduction. It's the
Right.
introduction of all things which are addicting that begin, if your culture has no defense against it, just sweeps right through.
Right.
Very similar to the crack epidemic, right? What was the
Right.
defense?
Well, it's
What was
also
it?
the accessibility, right? Crack was cheaper.
Just like petrol.
Yeah. That whole thing of giving them their land and then giving them money, boy, that always turns out horrible.
It's turned out horrible for us here.
And
It's
with
turned out
Native
bad
Americans.
for the native populations.
Except the ones that own casinos. Ballin'.
You know, it's funny. You look into that, though, and you find out, guess what?
Yeah.
They don't really get that much in the way of
No, 'cause
proceeds
the
from
government
those casinos.
probably-
Exactly.
Turns out that White Eye comes in and still gets most of the proceeds from
Yeah.
those casinos.
Yep. Somebody comes in and bankrolls it and sets it up, and they get a nice check, and they don't have to work again. But that guy gets fucking stinking rich. And then also you've created a gambling problem, which I am of the belief that you have to have personal accountability. Like, I don't mind Las Vegas. I don't mind it. I think if you want to go into the casino, and like my friend Dana White is a fucking degenerate gambler. Like, he plays blackjack for like $100,000 a hand. It's nuts. I don't like it. I don't do it. I don't get it. But I feel like you should be able to do it if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
And then the argument is like people lose everything, and like true. Also, people lose everything drinking. I don't know what you want to do about that, but I think you should have personal accountability, and you should, if you're an alcoholic, definitely not drink. I don't know, like, at what point in time do we say you can't? Because some people enjoy playing craps. They look forward to going to Vegas, and they want to play craps. Like, what do we?
Well, and overwhelmingly now people go, okay, I'm going to go to Vegas, or I'm going to go to Laughlin, or I'm going to go to a place like this. I'm bringing the exact amount of money that I can lose. And
That's
they just
if they're
expect
rational.
to lose. Yeah, just expect to lose. There are degenerate gamblers, there's no doubt.
Oh, I could introduce you
course.
to a
Yeah,
gang of them.
there's tons of degenerate gamblers, that's true.
My friend Dana is a weird one because he's a degenerate gambler that's insanely wealthy.
Yeah.
Like, he's worth fucking shit piles of money, and he's still gambling all the time. Like, but
Like there's a thrill for
yeah.
it, maybe?
Yeah, well, but when you set up one of those casinos in a place that's never had a casino, at least Vegas is like established, right? But if you just like set up some new casino in a very poor area,
Check out that stat.
Oklahoma rose to 3.23 billion. Oh, native gaming revenues in Oklahoma rose to 3.23 billion in 2010, representing 44% of all U.S. casinos. Whoa. Oklahoma surpassed Connecticut as second in the United States for gaming revenue, according to Alan Meister, an economist with Nathan Associates, Inc. Oklahoma has 113 tribal casinos. Whoa, more than any other state in the U.S. 2015 report on U.S. gaming says Oklahoma has the most gaming machines. Those machines, bro. That's the saddest thing when you go to Vegas, you see someone just sitting there.
Like a drone?
Yeah, just pressing buttons.
The
right
old
here.
ladies with their... Have you ever seen the screen rubbers? They're hilarious. They'll rub the screen for luck.
Yeah.
That's just wild. And they play the penny slots. Penny slots. 100 lines at a time, so it's $1 a hand, but it's a penny slot.
Oh.
It's a penny slot. Yeah, they're making out like bandits, but it's usually not actually the native tribes that are making out at all.
Of course.
Yeah, they get just enough to shut up. There you go. Now shut
But it's
up.
just sad when you find out how much alcoholism and drug abuse exists in those places. It's just, and you think, like, if you look at it from a genetic perspective, like fire water, that was always the thing. It was always the joke from the Western movies that the natives couldn't handle their fire water. It's just they didn't have a history of alcohol use. And all of a sudden you've introduced something that allows them to just get pissed drunk and fall asleep, and they don't have cultural traditions on how to manage it correctly, and
for addiction at all.
And there's also the genetics. Like, some people have a genetic propensity for alcoholism, and also some people are better at processing alcohol. They have a genetic propensity for It's like the whole thing it's dark.
You were telling me just before we came in here that you had seen Rachel debate that guy, Brian.
Yes, yes.
And you had watched the thrashing, which I was telling you, I was in the front row when that happened.
Yeah.
And that guy was just beyond upset. You know, everybody was everybody was dressing him, and I was gonna get your take on that. Like, what did you think after you had watched that? Did you feel bad for that guy? Or?
No.
No.
No, I never feel bad for someone that is, if that's what, like, I don't feel bad for guys when they fight and they get kicked in the head, you know?
You signed up for it.
I don't like that people get injured in a fight, but you were trying to do that. He did it to you. That's what it is. Right. It is what it is, you know? And it's just, the weirdness is like telling her to make him a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like that. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, are you a misogynist now? Like, you think a woman's? What are you saying? Like, they don't think at all about. It's like the checkers thing. Like we were talking about, like the ID for the grocery store.
Terrible optics.
It's like, what are you doing? It's also wanting to be right and to win versus like having a really well thought out perspective that you want to argue, you know, like, or debate or just communicate. It's always this ego thing where people are trying to win. And in doing so, they fall into these like really obvious traps.
Easy ones, too.
That's one of the things that when we first talked about doing another podcast, I said, I want to talk to you about because, you know, you're very logical in your approach to these things. And so many people are so bad at being logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Dave,
I
did
agree.
a debate, pretty famous debate with Dave Smith, and I know you know Dave. And Dave's a friend of mine. And we became friends
I
after.
love Dave.
Yeah, we
He's
became.
a very good friend of mine.
He's
What happened in the debate?
Well, he got crushed badly.
What was the debate over?
The debate was, well, it veered into his libertarian philosophy.
I can hear him right now going, "Fuck it, I did not fucking get crushed."
He won't actually on this one.
On this one,
He's
agrees
very
he got crushed?
publicly acknowledged that this happened to him. But it was good.
So it was about libertarianism?
There was libertarians versus Christian ethics and how the intersection actually happens with authority. And he ended up having to agree with most of my positions. I'm a little bit more of a statist than he is. He's a libertarian. And so we had this, and it was a good back and forth. It was a brutal debate, but it was a good back and forth. But when it was done, I think what he expected was that I was going to do the Dunk on Dave tour. I was going to go around,
Right,
But the opposite, in fact, I DM'd him and said, look, I think that I can help shore your worldview up. So you're a libertarian, and here's some points that you missed. And I think I can help shore those up. And he said, really? So I walked him through a bunch of those points, and he still uses them to this day.
That's cool.
But the whole idea there is like, I do want my worldview to win.
Oh,
Ultimately,
my
that's
God.
true. And one of the reasons I do so many debates is because I do think that I'm speaking to the audience from my worldview, why I think it's perhaps superior to this guy's or the things I'm advocating for better or worse. With Dave, he's doing the same thing. He's advocating his worldview. I think the difference there, the distinction, was that he was surprised, and he kind of asked me about it. And I said, look, the reason is because you're a good debater, and you've gotten better as time has gone on. And if you're going to represent your view, I want you to be the best at representing that view, because that's how you determine which worldview people end up going with. This is why so many people have moved towards Christianity and Christian ethics. Seeing the religious debates has a lot to do with that, with the various ideas in worldview being expanded, and then the kind of the graciousness even after the debate of trying to help the other person with their view.
That's very cool, and that would be nice if most people used that framework to have discussions.
They don't.
They don't. No, they don't. It's just, and again, it's like, it's a part of what we were talking about, that there's this whole commodity of attention, and there's a lot of attention on dunking on people and shitting on people and being mean, and people love that stuff for whatever reason.
That's true. Now, I'm not always that charitable when it comes to progressives or leftists, the people who I consider responsible for many of the most horrific things in society socially that we deal with. I'm not nearly as charitable to them. But this is because in my humble experience, they have not been very charitable to anybody.
No.
Anybody's views.
It's a very hyper-aggressive position, and very prone to insults, and that it's normalized. Like attacking people's normalized. The celebration of Charlie Kirk is a great example of like the cruelty that's normalized, right?
And when you get down to the core pillar of their ideology, a lot of them think not only is this justified. I'll give you an example. There's a guy who was inside the Twitch sphere who says, well, wouldn't you kill Hitler if you could before he became Hitler? That's his justification.
Right.
And so you see many progressives who have this kind of justification, and that leads to a huge amount of political violence, which becomes normalized because they justify it through the lens of, I'm stopping a monster.
Right.
I've never thought these people see me as a human being. I don't think that they do. I think that they see me, most of them, at least the ones I debate with, as an actual monster who's trying to take from, or destroy them or hurt them in some way. And so from my view, that's what it always seems like coming this direction, is that they don't even see me as a person. They see me as like an idea or an ideology which is there to hurt them.
Right, that they have to attack and beat and win.
Right.
And then, of course, they're in the echo chamber of the people that also support that ideology, and they're all, like, agreeing that this is okay and that this is acceptable and this violence is acceptable and all these different things. Yeah. It's really, it's kind of daunting because you're just like, when does this dust settle? When do people just, like, relax and start having actual conversations on both sides? Like, when do people...
I think things are going to get a lot worse before they restabilize and get better. We're on a trajectory, and the trajectory we're on doesn't get better until a lot of people are out of the way, one way or the other. So
just do what you and Dave did and just find out why a person thinks what they think and what the actual facts of what they're saying are, and whether or not your worldview is distorted.
Or compatible.
You
know, like Christian ethics living inside of libertarianism, from my view, is way better than trying to make Christian ethics compatible with progressive ideology.
Right.
And so if I have to pick between a guy governing like Mamdani or a guy who holds the ideology like Dave Smith, I'm picking Dave Smith's ideology.
Yeah.
And those are the choices. That's how I view it. I view it as choices between ideologies. Somebody's going to be in charge. Somebody's going to be in charge of the state, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to pick the ideology that's closest to my own. If you're going to be in charge of the state, I definitely want you to at least be representing the values that I have while you're in charge of it.
And the values of being legitimately charitable and a pathway to redemption, which doesn't exist with progressive, which is really a problem because they keep pushing the goalposts and eating their own. They keep going further and further left and attacking people for not being left enough. And, like, you get cast out of the community. You get excommunicated for... I mean, how many people were excommunicated during COVID for just not going along with the government's narrative on pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah.
Being injected in your body absent your consent.
Yeah.
Many of them wanted COVID passports. Remember that?
Yeah.
They wanted to inject the jabby-stabby into you. YouTube even censored opposition to it for a long time.
I think there's a real problem with people that don't have an ethical framework or a moral framework that's just arbitrary, and they don't have a religious background.
Foundation.
Yeah, like that's where I always describe it as, like, whether you believe in Christ or not, it's an awesome framework, like a scaffolding for being a good person. You could follow that guy's teachings. Like, there's no flaws in it. Like, especially Jesus. Like, there's not one thing that you point to. Like, you know, there's a few guys in religion that you could point to and go, yeah, well, he married a 9-year-old. Like, hey, that seems a little fucked. Hey, he said you could kill the infidels. That seems a little fucked. With Jesus, there's none of that.
None of that.
None
Not
of
only
that.
that, it's interesting.
I thought he
that you
married
bring
a
that up,
6-year-old,
the
and
kind
then
of
he
foundational
consummated at
principles.
9.
For Christians, the emulation of Christ, we accept that we're flawed. We accept that we sin. And we accept that the only pathway for us to redemption is to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ through Christian ethics, right? That's how we perceive things. So baked into that is not only redemption, it's not only the idea of salvation, but it gives you a value to move towards.
Yeah.
And what's missing often from the progressive ideology, from the secular ideology or the atheist ideology, how do you give a person a moral ought if you are the ultimate arbiter of all that is moral, because it just comes down to your preference?
Right.
How do we determine who the ultimate arbiter now is?
Right.
Well, it usually just comes down to you and whatever your preferences are. And so what are we moving towards exactly? How do we make the determination that you're in error? You're not moving towards this greater value.
What you do is you're establishing a new, non-defined religion that could be moved and changed based on
The whims.
yeah.
Yeah.
At any given time, and depending on who's the most radical and the most charismatic that's in charge of whatever that movement is at the time. Eat the rich, whatever it is, whatever.
And they
whatever
turn into
crazy
little
thing you-
micro cults.
Yes.
Right? Like have you seen the secular humanist
Sure.
micro cult? Same thing there.
Like, remember Atheism Plus?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Atheism plus. Secular humanism is really interesting because, and I've debated the most prominent secular humanists in the world.
Who's that?
Well, I did Matt Dillahunty. I've done several secular humanist debates. Matt Dillahunty was the funniest thing in the world. He rage quit in the first few minutes of the debate in my opening statement because I brought up this glaring contradiction in his worldview. I said, why should, so he was dating a he's dating a trans person, but he says he's not gay.
Oh man.
Right? So I'm not gay, but
Oh,
I'm dating
boy.
a trans person. So I brought this up and I said, the way that we can assess truth claims, I can just point an easy one out of how we can assess that maybe this isn't a good way to evaluate truth claims.
Right.
Because he says he's in a non-homosexual relationship with a trans woman and reconciles that by saying, no, that's a real woman. And I'm like, if we can't even distinguish what's real and what's true, how could you even have
Rage quit off that?
Oh, he was so angry. He called me a bunch of names, got up and rage quit for me pointing out this glaring contradiction in his ideology. And it basically ruined his career, but he did it to himself because he should just stayed and done the debate. And here's why I think this. But instead, he just lost it. He lost it, got up, undignified, threw the mic, called me a bunch of names, walked out. And anyway, I said, you and your husband have a wonderful evening. And that was it for him on his way out. But the problem with this ideology is it's changed. So he was reading from the Secular Human Manifesto 3. So it's already it's on its third revision now. And it started initially as kind of more religious dogma. And then it took on a non-religious dogma, and they called it secular
Who's
humanism.
creating the canon?
There was a big meeting in Amsterdam. Not kidding. I'm not kidding. It's the Amsterdam Secular Humanist Manifesto. And essentially it just comes down to these arbitrary preferences around, we're just kind of for things that make you feel good and kind of against things that make us not feel so good. Now, that's the biggest oversimplification in the world, but it really does just kind of reduce to that. And so one of the ways that you can always kind of endlessly beat these guys about the head and the shoulders with their own ideologies is just point this out. Who's in charge of this anyway? Like, which one of you gets to make this determination that this is the ought that I should follow based on anything other than your preferences? And the idea always is, well, it wouldn't just be my preference. It'd be the preference of many people. But don't those change? Well, yeah. Well, then what you're saying is that what you consider moral today, you're not going to consider moral tomorrow. That tells me that you're saying to me, you don't know what is moral and what is not. The Christian has the opposite approach. They're saying what was moral yesterday is still moral today. And what's still moral today is still what's going to be moral 1,000 years from now, 2,000 years from now, because that's the teaching they're basing it on.
Yeah, it's really odd if anybody. It's like Wikipedia. Like anybody can contribute.
Yeah, or edit. You can just edit it whenever you want to. Feel bad. Edit.
It's way worse than Wikipedia because it's not even edit. Like you could actually add to the canon. You could.
Yeah.
Right.
True,
You could
yeah.
write your own. The Book of Eugene.
Yeah. Book of Eugene, and this is Eugene's new prophetic way forward. That is 100% true, and there are actual fail-safes in the Bible that prevent people from writing new Bibles. Right, the entirety of the message of Christ, in and of itself, this is what Christian ethics is based on: the teachings of Jesus Christ, the teachings of the Scriptures. But it always gives us a thing to move towards. And that is why it creates, I think, better societies in general, better societies overall, because people always go, wait a second, I'm supposed to be moving towards this idea.
If you really do follow it, it makes nice people. Like the people that I know that are like genuine, real Christians are some of the nicest people I know.
Of course.
They're so kind. Almost as nice as the Mormons.
Right.
They're the nicest.
The Mormon thing
They're
is
the
funny
nicest.
because it's like, if you have to be in a cult, like you said, boy, that's got to be the one.
It's a great one. You get a bunch of wives. Everyone's cool.
And do you know that they're the richest? They're richer than the Catholic Church.
Are they really?
Much richer.
Wow.
Much richer.
I would have never guessed that.
I didn't either until somebody told me that. I said, there's no way. Yes, there is.
But there's so many Catholics. Aren't there way more Catholics? than there
Way
are
more. But it's the tithing. So Mormons are really, they practice nepotism like no other. I mean, and they just overwhelmingly practice this in their communities. And so with the tithing, business tithing, some of these businesses will tithe the Mormon church 60, 70%, and then they get awarded various contracts from their friends and things like this.
Oh,
and
wow.
the church has buku dollars.
Damn, what a nice setup.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice setup for them. And then they run their own politicians inside their own states.
Of course.
Yeah, which then enforces their law. It's like they kind of figured a lot of this out.
As long as they're nice. If they could push that niceness out to everybody else, like, why? What do you got here, Jamie?
It does.
It's official. Mormonism is the richest religion in the world.
But Catholicism as a whole, somewhere in the $2.3 trillion.
Oh, because there's a bunch of different Catholic churches.
Yeah,
is that what it
but-
is?
yeah,
Oh, I
right.
see.
But the single richest church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So Mormons.
Wow, they have $100 billion.
Yeah,
They're
not messing
way above
around.
everybody else.
Yeah, it's
Like
not
the
even
Vatican is only $30 billion.
billion,
I would have
yeah.
never guessed they were that much richer than the Vatican.
That's not correct.
It's not fair?
That is not correct.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying it's not correct.
How so?
I mean, well, also, it's a Wikipedia post on Reddit. That's not the best source.
Oh,
for
you just think this is
information.
just not accurate in general?
Yeah, whatever Holy See is not.
That's the
kind-
Vatican.
Yeah, that'll be.
I know, but I mean, they got way more than $30 billion and just
But that's a lot of money, dude.
Yeah, it is.
and just art.
I wonder, right? That's a good
That's
point.
what I said. I just looked it up. It's worth $3 trillion. It says on this other post.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So just the art
I'm just
or the buildings and the Vatican itself?
with getting into the weeds of it. Yeah, as one whole church in Utah, yes, comparatively to the one church in Texas, it's got.
So are they
a
just
whole
basing
lot
it
more.
on their assets? Is that what it is?
Also,
Like,
it was comparing it to like per person, like per. Look, average Catholic is worth
Capita.
$67,000 versus $1.7 million.
For a
That's-
million.
damn, the average Mormon is worth 1.7 million?
Nepotism, baby.
Yeah, and then also there's
It
a bunch
works.
of Catholics. There's way more Catholics like in Africa that aren't worth
right,
anything.
and
so.
South America especially.
Right, but that is crazy. The average Mormon's worth 1.7 million?
That's also probably their stat.
Yeah, at least
Right,
the
they're trying to
Reddit
rope
stat.
you
Yeah,
in.
probably like,
Yeah.
yo, if you
Bro,
know some-
join us.
That's what Scientology does, right?
Oh,
I mean,
that was a
that's
big
good
thing with
point.
Scientology in Hollywood. In Hollywood, when I first moved there in 1994, there was a bunch of people that were doing really well who were Scientologists, and there was this sort of push that if you join Scientology, they take care of you and you get hooked up.
That is really a wide berth. It's between 300 billion and 2.5 trillion.
That's 'cause, again, there's no-
that's a really wide.
That's almost like Ilhan Omar's
Yeah.
accountant.
100%.
just have a bank
The
account. Also
Vatican's
just heard-
hiding something
I heard the
here.
other day that someone just said like Rome didn't go away; it just became the Catholic Church, and that's why
Right. Have you been to the Vatican? Oh my God, the art is insane. It's insane. I went on a tour with this guy who was a professor from France. It was really cool. He was really smart. It was a very interesting tour. You could hire a guy, and this guy was a professor, and in the summer he would give these tours. And if you were enthusiastic about it, he was awesome. And I was like really, really into it. So I was asking him all these questions, and he kept explaining in depth to me. And you just never run out of art. You're
Just
looking
endless.
at so much shit. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You keep going into new rooms and new auditoriums, and then you're in like St. Peter's Basilica. Just that alone, you're like, what? This is crazy.
And it's all worth a fortune.
It's so big and so majestic that if you didn't believe in God and you went there, you'd be like, okay,
Maybe.
they might know something.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did you do this? Like, it's so majestic that it almost changes your perception of what's possible.
You think they got the chronovisor in there?
the what?
The chronovisor, the Vatican chronovisor?
What is that?
That's supposedly, this is conspiracy stuff, right? Getting into the conspiracy stuff. Supposedly, the Vatican is sitting on something called the chronovisor, which tells them the future. and it was invented, I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, but you put on the chronovisor and it shows you the future. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God. Where is the arrow is pointing to like?
So it'd be like Jesus or something, I think.
I don't understand.
Yeah, and so
So
they
you
went
put on
back.
the hat?
Yeah, you put it on, and it'll show you. It can show you different spots in time or something like this, called the chronovisor.
Whoa. Well, you know, I'm really interested in the Ark of the Covenant that's supposedly in Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. You know, have you ever heard Graham Hancock talk about that?
No.
It's really interesting. So, the Ethiopian
This is the kind of stuff I like
Bible
more.
Has
This
a
is why I'll
lot
tune
of,
into Rogan. I
Book
like
of
hearing
Enoch
random
in
shit. I've
it,
never
and
heard of this.
It's a really old version.
They don't consider it deuterocanon. They consider it canon. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Ethiopian church is not actually, I don't believe it's actually in communion with the Orthodox Church anymore.
Right.
It's on its own along with a couple others, but they do have more books in their Bible than the Orthodox Church does in the Catholic Church.
Right. And supposedly they're guarding the Ark of the Covenant. And these people that are assigned to be a guardian of this thing, they can only do it for a couple of years, and they develop cataracts. And he spoke to these people.
From
And
the blinding light?
from whatever the fuck it is, like whatever it is. It might be radiation. I mean, who knows what it is. But apparently, the lore is that it's this one particular church, this very old church in Ethiopia, and there is an area where they are guarding the Ark of the Covenant. And they have, and the people that are supposed to be in the room with it, they all can only do it for like a couple of years, and then they get horribly sick.
And then they have to switch them out.
And they get cataracts, like this documented cataracts from all these guys who go to, I mean, maybe it's the placebo effect. They think they're going to get, I don't know. But I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
It sounds more likely you've got some sort of a crazy artifact that might be ancient technology.
We have the same thing in Israel over Jesus' tomb.
Supposedly, this is a photo. Of
Yeah,
Jesus.
the chronovisor.
I was just reading the article. This is like it says it's a purported photo of
Oh, it's
Jesus.
Yeah,
crystal
it
clear.
is.
That's clearer than whatever his name is, Tyler Robinson.
Right, right.
Dude,
That's-
and it was weird today. I logged into Kick and I have 1,000 kicks all of a sudden. Like exactly 1,000. It was weird. I'm sure I could pull up the front page and not worry about it. But yeah, I logged in. I look at this. What the hell? That wasn't there before. And it's also weird that it's like at exactly 1,000. Like, yeah, maybe. I guess. I don't know. I don't know how. It's exactly 1,000. I don't know.
in 4K,
This guy,
right
this
there.
guy swears that he had the ability to go witness these events. He witnessed like tons of stuff, and then when he died, it says that the Pope hid it so nobody could ever.
Nobody could ever use it
How
again.
convenient.
Very convenient.
How convenient.
But yeah, another big miracle that's like that is over the tomb of Jesus Christ sits the Orthodox Church in Israel. Now that's true, right? That is in fact the case, that there is an Orthodox church, a Christian church that's above the tomb.
Wow.
And every year, I think it's every year, they have the miracle of the Holy Sepulchre. I think I'm pronouncing that right, sepulchre. And what they do is they use flame and emulate themselves in this holy flame, and they're burning. They're on fire, and none of them burn.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
How
god.
do they do that?
Nobody knows. But there's...
This is just one small sect of Christianity. that
No.
lives
This
there?
is the Orthodox Church. People come from miles around.
But who are the people that light themselves on fire?
These are people who are in the church who are specially selected to basically emulate. They set themselves on fire with the holy flame from torches, and apparently this is what
Now
I'm
we're into
told,
Warhammer.
They've had people go and investigate, and they can't figure out how exactly this is being done. But they're completely on fire, and they don't get hurt at all.
Jamie, pull that up.
I have.
Jamie for
Is
that.
there
I
video
have.
of that?
There is
Before
video.
I get there,
Really?
demonstration
Yeah.
on Greek television.
Of them,
did
like,
5 candles in white
putting-
phosphorus. The candles spontaneously ignited for approximately 10 minutes due to the self-ignition properties of white phosphorus when in contact with the air. According to the website, it says that phosphorus is dissolved in an appropriate organic solvent. Self-ignition is delayed until the solvent is completely evaporated. Repeated experiments show the ignition can be delayed for half an hour or more, depending on the density of the solution.
How does it stop them from catching fire, though, and dying?
the same way. It's probably like the shit that people put on to make movies. You know.
He's a skeptic. This motherfucker. He's always
Yeah, they can only do that for
everything
movies,
about
though.
logic.
They have to wear a
think
full suit, and they can
skepticism
only
is
do it
great
for
if
like
people
10
actually
seconds.
practice the real philosophical tradition of skepticism, which is you're supposed to also be skeptical of your view.
Right.
So the real skeptics, I'll never forget this debate that I listened to that it always stuck with me for years. It was with a guy named Jay Dyer and that same guy, Matt Dillahunty, and they were debating. And
Oh, here it
Oh,
is.
sorry. I thought.
Oh, no
Go
problem.
ahead. They were debating.
Yeah, they were debating. And he said, the guy Dillahunty said, well, I'm a skeptic. And Jay said, no, you're not. Here's the actual philosophy of skepticism, and it always starts with you. Your view is what you apply skepticism to first, long before you ever apply it to any other. And the problem with people who describe themselves now as skeptics, I'm a skeptic, they actually aren't really following skepticism. They're skeptical of your view. That doesn't mean that they're skeptical of their own, and it's supposed to start internally. That's what made skepticism kind of something that spread wide.
I would like to say I'm a self-skeptic. I was a lot more of a self-skeptic, I guess you could say, like in my 20s and stuff. But as I've gotten to the 40s and such, I've basically seen a lot of my predictions play out just as I thought they would. And I'm a little less critical of myself now. But I used to be very critical of myself and very hesitant to state my opinion and stuff like that because I was never sure if it was right and always wanted to double check and fact check things first, you know? That's how I used to be.
Widely was that it was a way for people to reject parts of their own worldview that didn't fit.
Still am in some ways.
They weren't coherent. They didn't make much sense. And so most of the time I hear skepticism, the person's not actually following the philosophy of skepticism. They're not applying it to their view first.
It's kind of like actually, I always use this as an example. When it comes to the X-Files, they always called Mulder the believer and Scully the skeptic. But I always felt that was wrong because Scully's the believer. She has the faith of Catholicism. Mulder applies the Mulder literally operates on the Sherlock Holmes principle that once you have removed the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth, right? That makes him the skeptic, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of lazy skepticism too, where they outright deny the existence of conspiracies, like which is just fucking ludicrous. It's like you're playing you're in a very rigid corridor of ideas. You're only allowed to
It's
operate
ridiculous.
inside.
Not only that, the U.S. government has thousands of laws on the books about conspiracy. So it's like our government seems to believe in them because there's conspiracy to commit racketeering, conspiracy to murder, conspiracy to commit theft, conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
Yeah.
Like, they clearly believe that there's a lot of conspiracies going on and definitely prosecute people for conspiracies all the time. But somehow, when it comes to the skeptic mindset of conspiracy, nope, that's all tinfoil hat
It's a
stuff.
lazy perspective, and it's also a perspective that falls in line with what we were talking about before, where you take a lot of legitimate conspiracies and you add a bunch of bullshit to it to make it seem completely ludicrous, and then the whole thing can be thrown out
Flooding
and
the
dismissed.
zone.
It's like it's
Yeah.
so obvious that's a ploy. Did you find anybody catching fire?
The first, when I was getting into, I was like, well, they're not really. They're like just dancing their hands over the fire, like it wouldn't catch anybody on fire technically, because you're not lighting.
Well, these
anything
guys
on
are.
fire. See how it's like touching his.
These
skin?
guys don't look like
And
priests,
then she's
though.
putting her hands through it. And
Oh,
whatnot.
so they're faking it.
It's
So
not that
the
they're
few people are
faking it,
faking
but,
it.
like-
Oh, this guy's lighting his beard on fire.
So there was a lady that at the end of one of these videos, she held a piece of paper over it, and it wasn't. I mean,
well,
wasn't
is this
catching
stuff
on
like regular fire?
But that's where I was
Yeah,
kind of
we-
getting into the white phosphorus thing. They said after 30 minutes, it will start acting as you expect it to.
Look at all. It seems like everybody should be on fire. How odd.
But yeah, it's a long-standing tradition. Like she's wiping it on her forehead or something.
Yep.
you know.
Huge tradition there. They call it the miracle.
Is another tradition in America called I got to take a pee. So let's wrap this up. This was
Okay.
really fun, man.
It was
Thank
a
you
lot
very
of
much.
fun.
Always,
I appreciate
always
you having
cool
me in the
hanging out with
studio.
you.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
We went over a lot today.
A lot of shit.
Yeah,
A lot,
and I
yeah.
enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Let's do it again.
Of course.
Dude, I want to get deep into some like crazy conspiracy theories. Like not even like because I want to buy into it. Just 'cause, like, I like that shit. I don't know. I always have. I really have. I don't know. Like for example, the first time I played Xenogears, and I saw that the name of the ship was the USS, or what was the Eldridge? The first ship that crashes onto the planet in the very beginning of Xenogears is called the Eldridge. And that is a reference to the famous Philadelphia experiment conspiracy theory. Anyways, I guess I'll leave you guys on that note. Or you guys, it's been a slow night. I'll leave you, Sure to Gall. It's Friday night. I'm gonna go to bed. I'll wake up and I'll do something. Maybe I'll get some actual painting done. I don't know. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys or you later. Have a good one.